This is Join Joel. If you're looking for polished business stories, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, sound hopefully is okay.
How much does it cost us to keep this place warm in the winter then?
Scary numbers.
Is it oil?
Is gas now.
Gas?
Gas, yeah.
Okay. Quite low.
Yeah, we put the boilers back on a year ago. And
So you've got to keep it warm though, haven't you?
yeah, well, we haven't done though for years.
Really?
Yeah. So for that, I mean, we're coming into our 11th year now. Are you ready, George? Yeah. Sorry. So we're coming into our 11th year now, and we ran the first 9 years with no heating, just using like little electric oil-filled heaters. And what we were doing was heating small rooms, like pockets, like offices, basically.
Yeah.
But none of the main building.
Yeah.
And it was like 0 degrees in the winter.
I bet.
And it was doing a lot of cosmetic damage because the buildings would get moist, so the condensation, it would run down, and that's exactly it. And it would look like it's mouldy, but the mildew would all go in. So constant cleaning it every spring, repainting it every spring. And that was quite a lot of upkeep. And it's difficult to run, we kind of kill our corporate market in the winter because we just couldn't heat the rooms and stuff like that. So anyway, we put the boilers back on. That cost us, we refurbed some of the boilers that were here, had to put some new components in, cost about 70 grand just to get the heating system up and running.
Correctly.
And then we've still got a couple of bits that are fully working. And then it costs us about five and a half grand a month.
Oh, that was a lot, but
It's a big
lot. It's a big chunk. Yeah. I think that seems quite cheap, but it's a lot of money. I know.
Yeah.
But it's a big place.
That's just gas. Well, you've got to take the electric as well. So, we probably have somewhere in the region of about 120-ish thousand pounds worth of utilities a year.
How many people you got?
What, in terms of staff?
Yeah.
We're running about 70, I think, across the whole organisation.
I always think that if you get sort of, to the point where you don't know everybody, and I worked in a firm. Are we on now?
Yeah, you just crack on. Yeah, absolutely.
A firm once that grew. I joined them when they were 12.
Yeah.
And ended up going to America. I lived in San Francisco for a couple of years with this firm. And they were growing so quickly, I didn't know who they were. They were doing, they were programmers mostly. And it got really, really big, really quick. Got about 120 in a couple of years. And it was a strange thing. The dynamic completely changed. When you're a small company and you know everybody and you're personally involved with them, you're friends a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. Once you start getting to the point where, and I don't know what that number is. I read somewhere that the Roman army used to have, they were broken up in groups of 8.
Yeah.
And a platoon in the army today is 8. Yeah. It's like one guy can control 8 guys. And that sort of dynamic has not changed. Would it?
That's exactly right.
People are human beings. So the Romans weren't stupid. They figured it out a long time ago. And I reckon it's the same in any organisation, whether it be a business or any kind of human organisation, where if you grow to a certain point, then there's that point you've got to sort of new managers. And we've tried to keep a very flat structure in Shoothill. I've always believed in a flat structure as much as possible, as much as you possibly can. But as you get bigger, you can't avoid it, can you? You have to have people running other people. So let's just do the 70.
That's so interesting you say that, because that's exactly it. You get to a point, don't you, where you suddenly go, I've got to employ an HR person now. With these 5 or 7 staff, whatever number it is, it's somewhere between sort of 7 and 11. I think I found. It's like, now I've got to employ somebody to look after the people in the process and that whole, and then you start going to culture.
We've avoided that so far. So far we've avoided it because, I know that sounds, that we've never really had reason to use HR so far. It just wouldn't tell you. So, it's a strange one, really. I guess with 70, you definitely would need somebody, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we have. And I think because I don't know how you came out of it, I should say to you, I'm being a little curious today because because it's always nice to speak to business owners, entrepreneurs, and just understand about their journey. And there's obviously a lot of similarities that we go through, but then there's lots of differences and nuances. But also, I follow you on LinkedIn, so I see a lot of your posts, obviously, because you're local. I've connected with Shoothill, I think, twice, and you guys have quoted work for us twice.
That's true. Yeah.
We don't use you yet. Yeah. We don't use you yet. We can have that discussion. That's fine. But yeah. So I follow it. And I was also, because you're like 10, 15 years ahead of us, I think, from a business perspective. And you moved. Was it a couple of years ago? You moved into sort of the chairman role. You kind of stepped in.
Yes, I did. I know it was a shocker. I'm 63.
Yeah.
I know it's shocking. You're supposed to say shocking.
Yeah, well, I'm 32. No.
And I had a business before this. I've had a couple of businesses in my time. I was involved with a business before this. It wasn't my business. I only owned 25%.
Yeah.
And the chap who I was partnered with was 60, and I was about 40. And I'd just come back from Canada. I lived in Canada after America, as I mentioned. And I came back to the UK, and it wasn't his fault. He said, "Oh, let's bring business together." And I should have taken a bit of time out.
Yeah.
And I could have. I could have afforded it and so on. I should have had a bit of a think, what am I going to do? And, take the time to do it. But I didn't. I jumped into the business with this chap. There was nothing wrong with him or whatever, but he was quite wealthy. He'd already been quite successful, a nice standard of living and so on. And I just felt that he didn't have the ambition necessarily, I might have been wrong, to grow it in the way that I wanted to grow it.
Yeah.
That I was young and keen and eager and all that. And so I've got people now in the firm. One is particularly, well, I've got loads of actually, but Simon Jevons.
Yeah.
He joined me about 10 years ago. I won't tell you how he joined because he get really annoyed.
Okay.
So I might tell you later on.
I do want to hear that. I've met Simon a couple of times. Yeah.
Anyway, he joined about 10 years ago, and I felt that it might be time to sort of take your chairman's role, which is what's a chairman's role really? It's just keep an eye on stuff and let Simon and the others, and there are others I'll talk about afterwards, run it themselves the way they want to do it, the way they think they want to do it. And if they come up with something crazy, I'll say, that's crazy. We won't do that. Keep an eye on the money, because whoever keeps an eye on the money in a business controls the business, in my view. Money is the blood of business.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've seen businesses where they spend money stupidly.
Yeah, I've seen
It's
that.
very easy for somebody to spend other people's money.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's not yours. Look at the government.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. When you asked me earlier about the prison closures, if I told you about I get in lots of trouble for saying things publicly I shouldn't say because I haven't. But the cost of just putting a hole in the wall down the road between the Arthur Path and the castle, the council want to spend $100,000 to put a hole in the wall. And I was like, guys, this is crazy. Spending other people's money is really, really easy.
Well, I used to be in the military, right? I was in the Navy. I joined the Navy when I was a kid, and I still follow the Navy now. I'm still interested in what's going on in the Navy. And believe it or not, we're spending today a very significant amount of money. In fact, the RAF, I believe, somebody check this out, spends more money than the Israeli Air Force.
Yeah.
The Israeli Air Force has got hundreds and hundreds of first-class jets and jet pilots. We've got, I think, so far 36 F-35s, and they're £135 million each. We've got 2 aircraft carriers that are both in brief. They both don't work, basically, fundamentally. So we do spend the money. It's not that we don't spend the money. It's that it's bound to spend it.
Yeah.
And that is, unfortunately, something I see a lot in the public sector. Private sector, not so bad, because obviously it's easy to measure a private sector organisation, and that is if it doesn't go bust.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's the secret point. If you don't go bankrupt, you're doing okay. You're actually surviving. And obviously we've got to make a profit. And if you don't make a profit, there's not much point, really, is there?
Yeah.
I don't see the point of business unless you try to make a profit in private sector. But I've always felt that if it's not your money, then there's no such thing as a needed end profit.
I find people don't care about it as much, and we've got a lot better at it. I've certainly seen in the past that people just break stuff willy-nilly, or they just don't look after something. It just breaks and just expect it to be replaced. I think we're getting better, and we have got better in terms of getting staff to really recognise the value of something. And even just, I have this with my kids all the time, just turning off lights. Like I must spend half my time wandering around the house turning off lights.
It's funny you should say that, but this guy I went into business with, I actually worked for him before. I remember I told you that business that grew. He was one of the partners in that business.
Yeah.
And I worked directly for him, and he was a generous guy. I mean, in his personal life, he was very generous, and so on. But when it came to spending money in the company, this guy would be, how much for those business cards?
Yeah.
Can you get a better price? Small, insignificant, expenditures, he would still make sure I would try and get the best prices or whatever. Because we did a lot of print work in those days, a lot of printing stuff, making sure that you got the right price. And he sort of instilled that in me. And my lot was, if they ever see this, they'll be laughing because they say, well, you had change much. Because I'm sort of like, I know, I'm conscious of cost, And if I'm not tight-fisted in the sense that, you know, we pay well and so on, but I definitely think you've got to keep an eye on the pennies. And as a chairman role, that was one of the things I wanted to do. And I wanted to let them grow, as I say, in different ways. Because fundamentally, my background is software.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how I got into software if you want.
Yeah, I do. I was going to get there. I'll try not to ask sort of too many questions. So there you go. But how did you make that transition? Because you also were saying earlier about the Navy and stuff. Yeah.
I joined the Navy because my dad had been in the Navy, and I joined the Navy as an electrician.
Yeah.
And I always knew there was something wrong with me, but I didn't know what it was. And in my day, they didn't test for things at school. And I could read perfectly, I can do lots of things, but I can't spell. And when I say spell, I mean simple spelling, you know. I've never been able to do it. And also, I can sometimes jumble things up. So if I see a 7, that could look like a Z. If I see an E, it could look like a 3. And we all know where this is going, but I didn't know what it was. Managed to pass all my exams, did all the boot camp stuff, you know, marching about and that sort of thing. Loved all that, shooting, you know, and all that stuff, military stuff. I had no problem with the discipline or anything else. I did my basic training, and then I did my electrical training, and somehow I managed to pass out as an electrician. And I got to see, and in those days, it was all printed circuit diagrams, big piece of paper with little lines on it, and it shows all the cables or the shit. And you can imagine how complicated all should be. It's very complicated, even then. And this chief was saying, right, okay, we got a missile system here, got capacitor there, resistor there, I got it. And I went, I don't get it, chief, I can't see it. And he said, what do you mean you can't see it? I said, I can't see it physically. And he said, what's wrong with you? I said, it looks like spaghetti. And it did. I didn't understand it. And later on, I found out that I got dyslexia.
Yeah.
And I was bloody hopeless as an electrician. And if I had...
It's like being colourblind, isn't it? But as an electrician, on a warship.
There's giant circuit breaker boards, and we had this thing called a wider tester. I remember WEBEL. And you're supposed to test these circuit breakers and that, you know. And I was pretending I knew what I was doing. And I got 440-volt shock.
Yeah.
And we had these special boots with a rubber sole, and we had rubber mats. And my military officer had to kick me, he couldn't touch me otherwise. Kick me off this thing. And if you've got 440 volts through you, it's a shock.
It's a jolt,
Sure. And I thought, oh my God, I'm not very good at this. I'm never going to get promoted. And in those days, in the Navy, you couldn't recategorize something else. So if I joined them as a chef, I'd have been fine, or something else. And so reluctantly, because I loved it, I did enjoy it. I had a great time, and I went all over the world and all the rest of it. I had to leave, so I left the Navy, which is a shock when you're in the forces and you suddenly are not. You've got to pay bills, you got to buy food, you know, all that's taken care of in the forces. And anyway, so I was drifted in between jobs and this and that. And I sold photocopiers for a bit. I sold mobile phones for a bit, and I hated selling photocopiers because, you know, it's a photocopier, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
it's get excited, isn't it?
You know, some sales guys are gifted. They can sell anything. They can sell, what's that movie, Wall Street, Sell Me a Pencil.
Yeah.
I'm not that. I was never like that. I could only sell stuff that I'm enthusiastic about. I mean, when you talk about your business, when you talk about you're the president, you're enthusiastic. You love it, passion, right?
Yeah.
You're passionate about it. So when somebody comes along and says, I want to hire your president, or whatever, however else you make money, guys, you can sell it to them.
Yeah.
Because it's your baby.
Yeah.
And I feel I'm like that with my firm and things I'm doing, but I couldn't sell. I did sell a few photocopiers, but I hated it. And I drifted in and out of a few jobs. And I left school. I went to a boys' grammar school, which I also hated, funny enough. And I got a few O-levels. And at school, I was always, if I liked the subject, I was really good at it. Yeah. So, for example, history. I love history and English, art. So quite artsy. I'm not science.
You're quite creative.
Yeah, very much so. I wanted to be an artist, actually. I wanted to be a portrait artist, believe it or not. That was my ambition.
Can you paint and draw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't done it for years. And my wife keeps saying, why don't you take it up again? I don't know why I haven't, to be honest. I loved art when I was a kid. So I should have realised I should have been a chef, you know. Anyway, just did jobs and whatnot. And I went around the world with a guy, travelled around the world, you know, hitchhiking and all that stuff. Got back here and I thought, I need to get a job. And I got a job in a bakery, industrial bakery down at Abbey Foregate. It's now called Abbey Lawn.
Yeah.
Industrial. And I just went down there and I knocked on the door, and the shift manager turned up and said, "Have you got any jobs?" And he said, "Yeah, start tonight." And, you know, I say this to
It
people.
used to be so easy.
Well, yeah, definitely, you should be able to. I still think, though, if somebody turns up, has got the bottle to walk into a Greg's or a McDonald's or the prison or whatever and says, "Listen, Joel, I need a job. Can you give me a job?"
Yeah.
As a manager, as an MD of a firm, you think, kind of like that. You got the gumption to go and ask and do it, you know. And I don't know what it's like these days. I was reading about the needs problem the other day with these youngsters not being able to get work and so on. Perhaps we can come to that. But I got this job. I was getting married, a mortgage, and all that stuff. And I was humping flour about, literally humping bags of flour. And then I moved on to the slicing machines, which was the slicing bread machines.
Yeah.
We produced 4,000 of those an hour, so it was a big...
Yeah, it's a big... Yeah.
And this job came up, and it was a shift manager's job. I'd only been there about 18 months. And I went for the interview, and the first person he asked me, "What's 2% of 100? I could probably get this job. I got the job. And now I'm trapped. I was trapped. I was earning decent money.
Yeah.
Enough to pay bills, get married, society, and all that. And I thought, I need to get out of here. And when you're young and paying a mortgage and stuff, it's very easy to think that, but to actually leave and find another job, you can't just leave because you need the money.
Yeah.
So you're in a job. You can't just go from being industrial bakery shift managers to being in a career because nobody's going to take you on because you've got no experience. And I was a little bit trapped. And it's how funny life is. So at the same time, I was doing night school, started to do night school. I went and got a couple of HNC, HND.
Yeah, the higher national diplomas and
I
stuff.
forgot what this was. At A levels. And then I qualified to do a degree in night school, in business studies. And I thought that might help. And then the bakery closed. They made everybody redundant. They shut it down. I'm literally walking out of the plant. And the MD of the firm says, "Spike, come here." My nickname used to be Spike because I used to have Spikey out in the old days before it started falling out, unfortunately. Anyway, he goes,
I could do better than me. Yeah, I'll definitely do better than me. Don't worry, my 15-year-old daughter doesn't have... I'll be sat at home, my 15-year-old daughter will walk past me, shake, polish. And she just walks on, like, "Cheers, dude. Thanks." Like, "Hey, thanks, yeah."
I'm walking out the gate, and this guy goes, "Come here. He said, "Will you look after the plant?" Because the plant was worth a couple of million.
Yeah.
It's huge, enormous. They ended up selling it to Rhodesia, actually, in the end.
Oh, okay.
Or Zimbabwe, I should say.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, "Look after the plant. You pay your night watchman money. So he'll give you some wages, you know." And he said it'd be a couple of weeks before we sort things out. Anyway, I was there for about 18 months, just looking after this place, going in at night, setting up a camp bed, going to sleep.
Literally just sleeping there and just
Literally.
almost security basically back in the day.
Basically, I was sorry, but I wasn't in security as such. I was asleep, right? Anyway, one morning,
Sorry, how old were you at this point?
I got married, so I was about 27, 28.
Okay.
Good years, you know,
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
And I was conscious of that. And one morning, I woke up, and then on this plant, on this site, was a couple of buildings, like houses, you know, like they used to be houses for the management years ago, and they were offices. And they started renting these offices out. Anyway, I woke up, didn't know that. Woke up, saw a couple of lights on in one of these offices. I thought, I'm a security guy. I better check this out, right? Went over there, and there's two guys building PCs. And this is just at the start of the PC revolution. And I'd seen, I'd worked a little bit with computers in the Navy, a tiny little bit, and a thing called machine code programming. And it was a nightmare for me, dyslexia, complete nightmare.
Yeah.
And then I'd walk past a Curry's, where it used to be down in town, and I saw a computer with Windows 3 on it, black and white. And I thought, hang about, so you can have an application running there and an application running there. And so you can have more than one thing running on a PC, on a computer. And I thought, I just got it because it's visual.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, software today is visual. You're looking at a button, you're pressing a button, you know, and different screens. And so I got that. I started, and a mate of mine said, if you want to learn a trade or learn an industry, start buying industry magazines. And in those days, there was loads of them, PC World, PC this, PC that. So I was buying these magazines, reading them at night, you know. Anyway, I walked over to this firm, and there's these two guys, and they're building PCs. Building them and selling them. Or that's what the plan was. And they were young, very young. And one of them was a fellow called Eric. And Eric, I met this guy, and was a very technical person, a very clever person. Well, I won't go too far, but he's actually my partner today.
Yeah.
So we struck a friendship and all the rest of it. And I started applying for jobs, and this is absolutely true. I got sent off loads of applications for jobs, all sorts of jobs, all over the place. Muller Dairies, trying to think around here now, lots of firms. Didn't get an interview. And I was actually on the front page of one of the papers, local papers, Shrewsbury. Local man doesn't get a job after about 120 applications. Didn't get an interview, sorry, not even a sniff.
Yeah.
And I've still got all the applications I own there. I thought, I've got to do something that's going to get noticed. And I had this idea, and you said about creativity before, I had this idea, and it was, instead of sending a conventional CV, this is like 1990-ish now, maybe 1991, I'm a bit early there. Anyway, instead of sending them a conventional CV on paper, why can't you send them a floppy disk? Yeah. Send them a floppy disk, they button that on the computer, and that pops a screen with experience, qualifications, all the things that you want to know about a person, to be honest now, I just squint over CVs. But in those days, it was really important. And I said to Eric, can you program this thing so I can just send a floppy disk to an employer and they'd be able to poke it at the computer? I mean, you wouldn't do this nowadays with viruses and stuff, but but I call it visual CV.
Our IT company would. Yeah. So what are you doing?
And actually, they would hate it. Yeah. They would hate it. So he did it for me, and there's pictures of me getting married and pictures of my ship and stuff like that. And sent it off. Well, I got tweets everywhere, didn't I? It was just BT, Rack Xerox, loads everywhere. Kronospan in Chirk. I'll tell you a funny story about that in a minute, if you like. I will tell you now. So I got this interview at this firm, and I went there, and the HR guy, was saying things like, "Oh, so you got a degree then, have you?" I said, "Yeah." Everybody's got a degree these days, haven't they? Yeah, okay. Worked in the bakery, did you? I said, yeah. He said, what's the baker's dozen? So I said, 13. Okay. This CV thing of yours, bit of a gimmick, isn't it? And I actually said, excuse me, I said, and I did, this is a true story. I said, excuse me, I said, are you trying to provoke me? Is that your technique to see if you can upset me in an interview or something? Because if it is, I don't want to work here. Yeah. And I walked out. And so I thought, right, I'm going to be a bit choosy now. Everybody wants to interview me. So,
what did he say?
I think it was that. He was trying to sort of...
Do you think he was trying to get a reaction?
I mean, not really nasty or anything. He's not trying to insult me. But I think if you're interviewing people, I mean, I don't know how you do it. I've got to shut up quite a lot when I interview people because I can talk too much and give them too much of a hint maybe of what I like or what I want or what have you.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So I go and rabbit on, a little bit. And I always think, like, when you interview people is, obviously, can they do the job? In my world, in programming, that's quite easy to do because Eric and somebody technical will ask them technical questions, and if they can't answer them, well, you can't do the job. But for my point, what I'm looking for, are they going to fit in? Do they like us? Will we like them? Will they like the environment? And all those sorts of persons.
Look at the culture side.
Very much so. Yeah, I'm a great believer in setting a paradigm in a business that people want to work in. You know what I mean? And it's very easy as a boss, isn't it? You can, you've got to. I can walk. You used to be able to walk into a room and come up with a brilliant idea, and because I'm the MD, everybody agrees with me. Yeah, I hear that. And it might be a crap idea. Yep. And yet everybody still thinks it's a great idea. Yep. So shut up. Yeah. Let them have ideas, and then say what you think. Anyway, setting off all these interviews and whatnots, and one of them was to a software firm in Telford, the one I mentioned. Yeah. I went for an interview with them. I sent my CV in, and they didn't respond. I'm like, can I edit? Everybody responded to this thing. What's going on? So I phoned up, and I spoke to this guy, and I said, I said, oh yes, he said, I saw your CV, very interesting. Why don't you come in for an interview? And I found out later that they were waiting to see if I did phone them. Because the job was product marketing manager, which is basically liaising with customers.
They want you to chase.
They wanted you on the phone.
I did that with my EA role. The last year, I was sorry to cut in, but I was trying to layer it. So the way I was positioning it on LinkedIn was, I need this role, and I was just trying to leave it open so somebody would go, give me access to your diary, and I'll book in my own interview. Right. And I set it for them. I set it, and nobody did it. I was sat there going, I'm so disappointed. All these people have applied, and nobody's cottoned on to go, do you know what? If you give me access to your diary, I'll book it. Oh, so I'm going to give
Which is what you wanted.
Yeah, nobody did that. I'm so disappointed. Sorry.
Well, no, not at all, not at all. So I went for an interview, went for another interview with another guy. There were two bosses, if you like. One was in charge of sales, the other one in charge of tech. And I got this job.
Yeah.
And it was called ABC Systems Company. And we were small then, and whatnot. And I was about 29, 30. And started in touch with Eric, obviously, because he's a pal of mine by then. And I worked really, really hard. And I knew I was a child at a shop. I knew I liked software, because software, you don't have to buy any equipment. You need a PC.
Yeah.
That's it, right? You don't really need a license. You don't need to buy a factory. You don't need to buy
your SaaS, aren't you?
machine or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's creative. So you're creating something out of nothing. It's basically fundamentally software is just code, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, that was great, because I don't have to, I'm not technical. But forget me programming computer. But I do realise, what I can do. And my job there was quite interesting in the sense that I would actually have to liaise with users, people who use the software, and then liaise with programmers, people creating it. And sometimes, the two things don't communicate with each other. And programmers can think, oh, this is a really useful feature. This is something fantastic. We should put it in. But sometimes users won't even find it, let alone use it. And I remember I had a conversation with a guy from Microsoft years and years ago who's involved with Word. And in those days, this is a long time ago, he said 75% of the suggestions that you get from consumers for Word are already in Word. But people don't know it's there.
Yeah.
Doing equations or something, it's advanced. If you look into Word, it's vast. It's massive.
Yeah.
But most people never use it. They use it for, write a document, right? Yeah. So that was the job. It was liaising with the clients and going back to the programmers, and then also on the marketing side, so doing trade shows and so on and so forth. Sort of marketing.
So most of it, I guess back then would have been like trade shows, print advertising.
The Windex trade shows, and a rope across the doors to hold back the crowd. Imagine doing a trade show like this now.
Yeah, it just wouldn't happen. I remember doing the gym trade shows back in the. Where are we now? It must be in the late noughties, effectively, sort of 2009,
right?
2008, 2009, all the way through sort of 2012. I'd be going to do gym trade shows, and they'd be like 4 days long, and there'd be, I don't know, thousands and thousands of people, and you'd be in the NEC, and there'd be like 3 massive halls, and now they just don't exist in the same way.
You're checking about the internet, can't you?
Yeah. It just doesn't exist in the same way.
There's videos everywhere, everything, so you don't need to, the traditional marketing, trade shows, mail shots, putting things in envelopes, you name it. I was doing all of that stuff.
I bet the drinking at the trade shows was a madness.
Not for me.
Yeah.
I know it's trying to catch me.
I remember doing the gym.
But I was in the Bible class.
Oh, it was 3 days. It was like I got a stag do for 3 days sometimes. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I do remember I had a garlic chili dish or garlic chicken thing out in Italian one night trade show. And the next morning my boss said, oh no, can you speak to anybody?
Yeah.
I was still on trade show. So I was doing all that was great. And this guy was back, his name's Barrister, a friend of mine, it's a good mate of mine still. He was really good at presenting, and he'd been in the Navy.
Yeah.
He was an officer in the Navy, so obviously talking to people is very much part of that job. And he was really, really good, and he was really good at demoing and really good at all that sort of stuff. And he left. He left this business, and I said to my boss, I said, crikey, now he's gone. Who's going to do all the presentations? Who's going to do all the speaking slots and all that stuff? And he said, well, you are. And I'd never done it before. I'd never done public speaking or anything, never did it, never was exposed to it. And suddenly I'm chucked in the deep end. I've got to do these presentations and go start flying a little bit, and I go to San Francisco, which was all really exciting at the time. So I started flying around doing presentations and demos and stuff, and I discovered I quite enjoyed it. I liked it. I don't really. Some people hated them, they get very nervous or they panic or whatever. And I never did. I never felt, that I just felt like if you're talking to 1,000 people, it's easier than talking to one, really.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Really,
absolutely.
And make sure you look at everybody if you can and catch their eye and that stuff. And so I was doing that, and then And then this company was expanded into the States, and we were doing a lot of work already in the States, starting to sell this stuff, our software in the States. And then my boss and another boss, there's two, as I say, another Simon, and Simon seems to have cropped up in my life quite a few times, said, oh, we're opening an office in the States. Would you go out there and hit it up and start recruiting and get an office and all that, you know? And I assumed it'd be Boston, because we had a guy in Boston, a sales guy in Boston. But it wasn't, it was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So I flew out to San Francisco, and I tell you, I was luckily, I'm very, very lucky. I married the right woman. So I didn't even consult her. I just said, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that can put a lot of stress on a marriage, you know, but it was good for my career, and every my wife knew that. So I was in San Francisco and headed this thing up, and that's up.
So you lived over there?
Yeah.
Did your wife go with you?
No, she stayed here. She was
really?
I was flying back every 2 weeks.
Just pre-children?
Yes, I haven't got children.
Oh, have you not? Oh,
No,
yeah.
didn't happen. So I was flying every 2 weeks, and and I was flying a lot inside the States as well. And I say this all the time. It sounds glamorous, doesn't it? But
you think that you're flying back and forward. There's going to be business class flights and everything else, and there's between stuff. But yeah, it's just
I was always tired. I aged really a lot. And the other thing is as well, when you're on business, so you must know this. The first time I played so much was San Francisco at the same business. I'm thinking, oh great, I've got a free ticket to San Francisco, firm companion, I've got a lovely hotel, and I made sure I phoned this hotel. It was called the Francis Drake Hotel, I think, or was it the Radisson? One of them. And I phoned this hotel out. I said, can I see the bridge from your hotel? The guy says, yeah. I said, right. I want this highest room that you can get. It's booked as an advance, you know. I want to be able to see the bridge. So yeah, fine. Turned up this hotel, all excited, you know. And I got to this room, opened the book, curves up, and there is the Golden Gate Bridge. And I'm thinking, wow, this is fabulous. This is what it's all about.
I've made it.
You know, you know, my career is like,
Yeah.
Anyway, and I thought, right, what do I do now? Because you're on your own. And have you ever gone in a restaurant on your own?
Yeah.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you wait until you sit there, you wait for your food,
I've done on trips and stuff like that.
right?
Yeah, that's
And so you're actually on your own. So you can't, you know, when you're with somebody else, you can, you know, go for dinner, can't you? And, you know, have a chat and that. But when you're on your own, you can't. And I ended up having a burger because I couldn't be bothered to go in a restaurant. And all the time I was traveling, I was in the States and Canada for about 5 years, so 4.5 years. I think only about 2 meals on my own. I'd order, you know, go to a burger restaurant, have a burger joint, or something horrible. I never bothered going into a restaurant. I mean, I'm going to restaurants loads of times with clients, but not on my own. And so I was flying backwards and forwards. And I had to do a speaking engagement in London. And some funny life isn't there. It's weird how things can happen. So Eric now was in between jobs. I'm staying in touch with him. Went into the computer industry, the software industry, security. He was working for banks, and all that stuff. We kept in touch. We would go out with each, you know, when I was home, and everything like that. And I was in London, and I went down to the foyer of this trade show, and I was second. I have said this story in the podcast before, but it was a presentation in 2 days, and everybody's coming out with a PowerPoint, right? And I was on the second day, about 3 o'clock. Everybody's bored out and skills. I know PowerPoint. You know,
That's my PowerPoint.
It's not exactly amazing anymore. It's amazing. Now it's boring.
Yeah, transitions and everything.
You do all the animations.
You see it come up on the screen, you see like the words bouncing, they were flipping. And
amazing.
Yeah.
So I was up second day, and in the night before, I was like, finish off, get the slides ready and all that. I thought, you know what, I know this subject already. I don't need a PowerPoint really. And PowerPoint, any presentation really, the bullets are there for you to remind you what to say. Don't read them.
A prompt something.
I can read, thanks. I'm in the audience, and the guy has got a PowerPoint out with loads and loads of stuff to write in, and he reads it off. My name is Ron Plummer. What?
It's true. It's so true. It's so true. I've said it to my guys so many times.
I thought, right, okay, well, I know this subject, and I did know it. It's about license metering. It's probably the most boring subject in the world. It's about software license metering in big organisations, right? And I thought, right, I'm not going to do a PowerPoint. And I walked out on this stage, and I said, hi everybody, I'm Andrew, and I haven't got a PowerPoint. I've got no PowerPoint here, I'm just going to talk to you. And it's like a full quarter of an hour slot. And this guy came up to me from North. They were a massive telecoms company in Canada. Just trying to remember the name, craggy. And he came to me after I finished. He said, "Why have we not bought your company?" I thought, oh, okay, I must have done a good impression. And anyway, I went down to the foyer of this hotel, and there's two Swedish guys, who had what looked to me like Excel. And I said, "Oh, Excel, that's amazing," being flippant. He said, no. He said, "This is in Sweden, and we're transmitting the software across the internet so that people can play with software via the internet rather than installing it on their local PC."
Yeah.
Now, as I say, I was in the product marketing world, and I was trying to get banks and big corporations to put software on their networks.
Yeah.
You mentioned your IT guys. Well, they wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't like that. Right. So it was always very difficult to get them to do it in the first place. And so the ability to be able to play with software via the internet, this is the early days of the .com stuff, was very important. I recognise it was really important. Things like Sage, accountancy package.
Yeah.
These are all online now. They weren't online. Fundamentally, they work via browser.
You used to have them as downloads. You'd buy in Sage, and it would come in a pack. It would come in as a disk. You'd install it, and
so you could play with it. Try it before you buy it, kind of thing. And that's what the company was called Runaware. They were based out of San Francisco and Ottawa, Canada, and Gothenburg, and I don't know. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." And this is how weird life is. And I was in San Francisco, as I say, living in San Francisco, and I had to go to business. I had to go on to Ottawa on business and meet Corel Draw. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They were a big draw, software drawing package, a bit like Photoshop.
Yeah.
We go in there. I had to meet it, whatever. And in those days, they used to wear suits. And in America, in those days, wearing a suit is like unusual, because most people we've got it here now, cash.
Yeah.
But in those days, it wasn't. Anyway, I was doing a meeting, and taxi's driving back to the airport. And I said, "Oh, excuse me, these two guys I met in London, they gave me a business card for the Ottawa office." And I said to the driver, I said, "See, excuse me, mate, you see this place here? Is it on the way to the airport?" And he went, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I've got a bit of time to kill. Any chance you could drop me off there and wait, and I'll pay you, while I nip in and say hello to these guys?" And we went to this place. I walked in. "Hello, name's Rod." Met that turned out to be Johan, he's the MD or CEO of this firm. And I said, "Any jobs going? I'm quite interested in what you're doing." And he said, "Oh, nothing at the moment, but keep it here's my business card." Went back to San Francisco. We'd later get a phone call from this guy. "We'd like you to join our firm." And by now, I was getting in. I've been in this other company 7 years. They were still growing, but I didn't feel that the direction was right, really.
Yeah.
So I decided to leave, and I've been there 7 years, as I say. Joined this firm. First day, I was supposed to go to Ottawa for training. I said, "Listen, I don't want a job." And they said, "Why not?" So I've lived in San Francisco for 2 years now. I've had enough, really. 8-hour time difference. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a really big thing, I just don't want to work in San Francisco anymore. And this chap, Peter, who's another friend of mine still, said, "Well, why don't you live in Canada then? Why don't you live in Ottawa?" So I thought, yeah, okay. So I started working in Ottawa, still flying backwards and forwards. And I was there for about 3 years. Again, in flying a lot, doing a lot of presentations, demos, all that stuff. And then I was gonna move there. I thought, let's emigrate, let's live in Canada, because a lot of people do.
Canada's a nice place.
It's a lovely place. For me, Canada represents the best of Britain, British culture, if you like, and the best of American culture. So you've got the service culture, the food culture that you get in the States, but you've also got not the same, but similar sense of humour. There's sarcasm and irony. As in America, you can say something that you think is really funny. You'll laugh. Well, another group will laugh, but the youngsters don't get. They just don't get.
And they get real seasons as well.
And they do get
real seasons.
Ottawa's the coldest capital in the world.
Yeah.
So I was working there, and that whole week, that was fine. It was great. And then the wife came over a few times and said, "Come on, let's." But she was very close to her parents, very close to her dad, who had Alzheimer's at the time, and there was just no way, So I came back to the UK, and I went into business with this guy who I told you about. So now I'm about 40, and it was frustrating. I got more and more frustrated, and I wasn't being listened to. Bear in mind, when I was in the States and Canada, I was kind of in charge of quite a lot. I'd managed people at the bakery. As I said, I was a shift manager, so I'd learned a little bit about management of people, a little bit. And in the end, we fell out. We fell out, and it wasn't nice either.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had that in a business, Paul. Yeah, I can tell.
I've had it. Yeah, I mean, it's not about me, it's about you, but I always say when I first started working with a PR company, I was like, I have made every mistake you can make in business. And I made them quick, which I'm grateful I made them quick. And I still make them every single day, as we all do. Yeah, and I just either didn't listen, or I kind of felt I knew better. I just wanted to rush. I just want it done. And yeah, I did a similar thing. I went into my very first company, which actually I didn't even realize at the time was a software company. It was a completely different business, but it turned out it was a software company. I didn't know any about it. And yeah, I went into business with a business partner who I thought I was being quite smart. I still think I am. Had a great idea, great concept, good delivery model, good leads into where we were going. Needed to have a website base and needed to have a software integration. I had a friend who I played cricket with, who I knew, who owned a web company.
Right.
So he was a web developer with 2 members of staff. I said, hey, look, I need a website type of thing. So we had a discussion. I said, look, I haven't got any money. Would you like a percentage of the business? So we did a deal where he took a percentage of the company, and that was all fine, and it flowed. And I thought, and my accountants were like, always going through the accounts, were like, you need a shareholders agreement. I was like, I don't need a shareholders agreement because I know this guy, we're friends. Absolutely, it'll absolutely be fine. And yeah, obviously where the story's going. 18 months later, boom, yeah, big falling out, and I found a way. It was masses of debt in the company. It was about 60 odd grand's worth of debt, I think, sort of what we kind of had there, and it was stuck. And then I had another company, a PLC, that said, look, we will buy you out, basically. We'll buy you out for £1. Right. We'll take everything over. Okay. You've got to come work for us for a couple of years, 18 months, I think it was. But we'll take it on, and you're kind of done. So I was like, okay, cool. My business partner refused to sign. And when I spoke to him, I was like, look, there is nothing here. Like, he goes, what do I get out of this? And I was like, well, they're offering to pay £1. So in theory, you'll get,
50p.
Well, yeah, I think it was 30 because he was at 30%, but it was enough that he was over the threshold.
Right.
So he was like, well, no. I was like, well, look, if you don't do this, there's 60 odd grand's worth of debt, 65k's worth of debt.
Was that, so it wasn't limited then? No,
it was a limited company, but it had a director's guarantee on it because it was the first company. So I had a director's guarantee, which was me. And he went, I'll never forget it. And he turned around and he said, I'd rather see you lumbered with the debt than I would let it go. So I ended up having to do it in a different way, and ended up with lots of debt, which took me a good few years to pay off.
I made it. The mistake, mistakes, obviously, mistakes-wise, but the problem I had with this business particularly was it was a guy and his wife. Yeah. And in my opinion, never partner with a guy and his wife, because if you do and you fall out with one of them, the other one's going to hate you. Yeah. And
they're going to stick together, aren't they?
They are going to stick together. Yeah. They're never going to take sides against each other for sticking up for you, are they? So that's kind of slightly, I'm simplifying it massively. Anyway, we split up and I left and stuff. I own 25% of this company. And you mentioned shareholders agreements. Well, in the shareholders agreements, this chap had already done that. And I thought, stupidly, a mistake I made, wasn't ever read it. Yeah. I just thought it was off the shelf, And one of the things that was in it was a clause where he could value the business any way he liked.
Oh, okay.
In more or less. And although we did sort out a compromise agreement and things was, okay, and I wasn't that upset, to be honest, to be leaving. I left, and I mentioned before about taking time out. I hadn't taken time out when I did this business. And so when it ended, this business ended, I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a bit of time out here.
Yeah.
And have a look around, and see what's what. So I built an extension of the house, which I've lived in the same house for like 30 years. I've done 4 extensions. 4 lots of buildings.
It's like Trigger's brain.
And every time I've done it, it's got incredibly, explosively more expensive.
Yeah.
I tell you what, being a builder, I would love to be a builder.
Yeah.
Anyway.
AI is not getting that market.
So I took a bit of time out, and this is again luck, fate, or whatever. So Eric was in between jobs. I was between jobs, and we always got on. And like you said, you can fall out with people in a business, but Eric is interested in technology and software and where it's going. We'll talk about AI in a minute, if you like, and all of that stuff. And I'm interested in sales, business, and all of that. And we agreed that we would have a set up company, and I would do all the sales and all the business and all the management and all the people and all that, and Eric made sure the technology worked.
Yeah.
And that is how we have been ever since. We've never had an argument. Yeah. We don't argue about strategy. We don't argue about, so some people do, don't they?
Yeah.
We don't argue about money or where we do things or hiring a fight. We don't argue about anything because we are separate. He's always done the tech. I do the sales. And if I sell something, I need to know, especially in software, that it's going to work.
Yeah.
And if we get time, I don't know how much time.
I'm going to definitely ask about, because I've had some brilliant experiences in SaaS companies with salespeople and developers and IT. And that will.
Well, if I jump forward.
Yeah.
Well, let me make sure I talk about how we went live on the BBC, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But that was that. We decided, right, let's have a go. No plan, no real plan. And then I had this idea. Why we start? I saw what was then called Virtual Earth, which is now called Bing Maps.
Yeah.
Microsoft's version of Google. Actually, Google's version. Google came after.
Yeah.
Microsoft. To Microsoft Shagri. But there we are. We saw this thing. I thought, you know what? Why can't we sell houses and land via this thing? Because it was really new. And I've always had this thing where try to be nice to young people. I'm old. I'm an old duffer. Yeah, okay. But old duffers sometimes can think, you're a young kid, you know nothing. I've been around, I've done this and I've done that. Well, actually, young people grow into older people. And if you're nice to young people, sometimes those young people get really, really good jobs later on. And they'll be nice to you back. And there was just one lad, he was a programmer at ABC. His name was Matt Brown. And he was a young kid, and I was always nice to him, and all that. And he'd become a CTO of this enormous property company that did house conveyancing, automated system. I thought, got an idea. What's that? How are you doing, Rod? Yeah, great. I've got this idea. And Eric built a demo in like 3 days where there's a pin on the map. Now, I know this doesn't sound rocket science now. It was then.
Well, you're talking 20 years ago, though.
Yeah. So when I demoed it to him, he said, I can only see at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. Get there, then we did. Ron, that's a brilliant idea. We want part of it. I'll get you a contract. And that's how we got going. And we built this system called Home Navigator, got paid, and then we got, I'd always been big friends with people at Microsoft, had a lot of friends there. We got promoted. One of them, very, very senior role, good mate of mine, Jeff, he's retired now, lucky bugger. And Microsoft is a great firm. Some people don't like it for some strange reason. I don't know how, why, whatever. If you're what they call Microsoft friendly, they will help you as a business. And so we started getting leads from Microsoft. One of them was a thing called Bombardier Trains. We built a system for them in Derby that would map incidents on the railway. And by now there's 2 or 3 of us. We only working in my house.
Yeah.
Usual routine.
Don't need the office.
Yeah.
Keeps cost down massive.
We got quite a bit of money for that job. And it's like, we're only 3 of us. This is great. And then we got a few more jobs, and then I started inventing things like I invented something called Time Map, which was I thought of this idea and Eric made it work. So you imagine a map of Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
In fact, we're thinking of regurgitating it right now, believe it or not. I could sell it at a public ambassador.
Yeah. So basically, imagine someone will take the idea.
They will. Well, we did it 20 years ago, so if you want to take it, great. Yeah. So let's say in prison. So you got the prison, and prison was built whenever?
1791.
Right. Yeah. So the ordnance survey is done every 10 years.
Yeah.
And we've got in the office, we found them the other day actually, 1880, 1890, 1900, 1910 of Shrewsbury in London. Mm-hmm. So you imagine now that you've got a modern Google map of the prison, you're looking at the prison from above, and you've got a scope, like a box on the map. And in that box is the prison in 1880.
Yeah.
And then on the scope is a thing called a time slider. And we literally merged the maps over time so that you could see a wing being built. I'm using.
Tell me what. No, it's a perfect example. Absolutely.
The house is being built around Castle Theatres, what have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you literally can move the scoop around so you can see how a town or a city has changed. It's called Time Map. And we built that. Eric built it. I managed to get this firm to give me the maps. Convince them. A firm called Ground Shore. Better give them a bit of. They're still going now, this firm. And we built this thing. And we got in the Shropshire Star Awards. And I'm not going to say publicly what happened, but we didn't win. Put it that way. It's quite a funny story. I'll tell you privately.
It's funny. Then I've got to be really careful. Jordan's going to remind me, like in future podcasts, going, Joe, you can't tell that story that Ron told you off air because the whole point he told you off air, so you can't say it again.
It's just funny. I've got all the mates at Microsoft to back me, and then I didn't win. They were like, take them in. So we were doing stuff off the cuff. You know, I've had an idea, usually. I have an idea, we built it, and see if we can sell it somewhere.
Yeah.
And
I'd love that. That's so entrepreneurial. For me, that is just the absolute dream. That is that. I just got this idea. I just think it'll work. And that somebody crazy will go, but show me a business plan, show me some feasibility, show me some finances. Just do the damn thing, and then worry about it. Yeah, I love that. I want to
I got introduced to. Remember I told you before we did this home navigator thing, which is a website for property.
Yeah.
And in those days, a gigantic portal. It still exists now called MSN.
Yeah.
And I got introduced to them from Microsoft because they wanted, guess what, property on their website.
Yeah.
And they said they're looking around for somebody who can do Bing Maps, Microsoft Stack, somebody's got a bit of property experience, who knows about mapping and other things. And we got this.
It's rolling out early sort of right move and maps.
Well, they're up to date. Everybody's up to date. Everybody property. And we built that for them. So that was great. And then when we went there, they said, they said we want to try and show things that people want to know. One of the right first thing we ever did with Home Navigator was I tried to get flooded information on there because it's quite important when you buy a house, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in those days, that data was unavailable. It existed, but the Environment Agency didn't release it.
Yeah.
And I decided, Microsoft said we want to do flood. So I badgered the Environment Agency for years and the Ordnance Survey and Microsoft. The Ordnance Survey were stroppy about it because contour information on the Ordnance Survey is copyrighted to the Ordnance Survey, and which is crazy. So the government actually owns data that they were trying to sell.
Yeah.
An Ordnance Survey, for example, is what I call a GovCon. Not con, I didn't say con.
It fits.
And now we have a Ordnance Survey map. It's really expensive, right?
Yeah.
Because, I think that stuff should be, I pay tax, right? And it's, therefore, if you've got data government that you can give me that's not security, sensitive, and I think that all should be free. But in those days, it wasn't. And anyway, we eventually, again, I had this crazy idea. Why don't we map flood risk? And I get invited. I've told this story so many times. I say it publicly, so I don't care. Show me to the Environment Agency as we've just mapped this flood risk stuff after we finally paid £30,000 for the data. And this guy, who was a good guy, actually said, "Come down to Bristol and present it to the Environment Agency." So I went down to Bristol, and I was demoing this system. This was propensity to flood. Not live, did it? I demoed the system, and so you put your postcode and tell you how far you are away from a flood risk, or if you're in a flood risk anywhere in the country. And this chap was in the audience. He was like, looking annoyed. And I finished my presentation, and I said, "Any questions?" And this guy going, "I've got a question." So what's that? He said, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "I want people to know influence."
Yeah.
"We don't," he says. So I said, "You're in the Environment Agency. I pay taxes. What do you mean?" And I was like, I say this story, whenever I say the story, I always say this. Being an MD is a great job, right? But also it comes with massive responsibility, because if you make a massive mistake, everybody loses their jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said to this guy, "Well, what's the point of the Environment Agency then? Being all flippant." And you could avert a pin drop in this room. And there's lots of people, and they're obviously all sort of looking at this guy. And I'm thinking, this guy's important. I've done something, Anyway, my sponsor washes me out. And I said, "Who's that old duck in the corner who's giving me that grief there?" So he's the Deputy Executive Director of the Environment Agency. And he just wound him up. So I said, I was like, "Oh, God." He said, No. He said, No. We've got live data as well. We think you're right. For a small fee, because everything was a fee in those days, we connect you up to our central computer. You've already got a propensity to flood. So we'll tell you what areas, they're called tiles on a map, digital map tiles. When you go to Google, it's like, in space, it's 4 tiles, 4 squares.
Yeah.
From a slow connection, you can see it. And as you go down, they multiply. So each one's a tile. They're 256 pixels.
Yeah.
That's all they are. It's like millions and millions of them, but that's what they are. And with flood, you create the tiles on those layers. I think there's 16 layers. And switch them on and off when there's a flood area, when there's a flood alert issued. I'm simplifying it, but there we are. And we created this map. And I didn't realise, at first I didn't realise, we were the first people to do it. The Environment hadn't done it. And we put it on big maps again. Now we've got a live flood map. And I've never paid us, we haven't paid anything. Suddenly...
Still a crazy idea.
In the crazy.
Just crazy idea.
Suddenly, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. And by now we were, trying to get the years right, it's about 2012, something like that. We were now about 10 people, maybe 11 or what have you, all programmers and me selling, and another guy selling now, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. He passed away about 10 years ago. But we were built this flood map, showed it to the Environment Agency, not interested. Nobody was interested. And it was also during a drought. There was a drought in 2011. And I couldn't get anybody interested in this thing. And then Eric had this idea, why don't we put it on Facebook? So it's a social media way that you could alert people. And the Environment Agency was interested in that. And we built this thing on Facebook. I didn't even want to join Facebook, you know. You're a nice guy, Joe, but I don't know you have to do that last time, you know. So I wasn't interested in social media, really. And anyway, we launched this map on Facebook, and it went a bit, you know, he was getting hits because it was a flood.
Yeah.
And the guy from the NA phoned me up, found my phone number, and he said, hello. He said, so you the guys who built that map on Facebook? I said, yeah. He said, we think it's brilliant. So thank you very much. The only problem is, he said, we can't use it because our network managers won't let us use Facebook on our PCs. Have you got a standalone version?
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
A standalone version. And I said, no. I said, yes, actually, we're launching tomorrow. It's a Friday. They went, oh, that's fantastic. The AA would be right behind that if you do that. Well, we didn't. It might have been a slight fib.
Yeah, I was just saying, were you actually launching tomorrow? Is that the salesman approch versus where the tech might be?
Yeah, there was I ain't saying it, well, it wasn't the salesman, I don't think it's
Yeah, because it doesn't exist yet.
on technicality.
Yeah.
I wasn't embellishing.
I've sat in so many rooms, so that crossover, I'm sat there going, oh, someone's going to throw something in it.
I only went next one. I said, boys, we were all floating those days. Boys, we're going to launch a standalone version of Flood Alerts today. We started calling it Flood Alerts.
Yeah.
So the boys are working out. At 11 o'clock, it's ready. There was only 2 hours. It was easy to do it. You had to go and do it and then get a URL. And in those days, it's shoothill.com/flood alerts. We're now called floodalerts.com. By the way, we bought that a few years later. Amy Bond, B-Bond PR, I always mention her because I knew them, her and Mark. And I came up to Mark, I think it was Mark, might be Amy. I think it was Mark. Mark, we've got this flood thing. Oh, let's see what we can do. 11:30, we get an email from the BBC. We're going to run a story on it, and it's going to be on the front page of the BBC website. Now, the BBC website is a big. If you get hits on it, you're going to get a lot of hits.
Yeah. And
it was a story. Flood Alert Map launched. The EA weren't interested in the PR. I give it to them as a PR thing. Do you want to come in with us? No. Get the public sector, not commercial. And it went live on the BBC website at 12 o'clock, and we got 16 million hits. Yeah. And I remember saying, that was the story I told you earlier. I said to Eric, whatever happens, this thing cannot fall over. We're going to get a lot of hits very quickly, and a lot of websites go down because of that.
Yeah.
They're victims of their own success. If you get a lot of hits, the server could mass out, and boom, everybody gets a 404. Right? So, and then the BBC, you don't want that. So I said to him, whatever happens, make sure. And he programmed it that as soon as we started it max on one server, we spin another one up.
Yes, you just do it.
Rather than using loads of servers, which costs loads of money. Bearing in mind, I'm still paying for this. Anyway, it went live on the BBC, and it went massive. And eventually, we ended up with a contract with the BBC, Channel 4, the Environment Agency. Everybody was buying this map. This 2014, we launched a thing called Gauge Map, another one of my crazy ideas, all the river levels. And we connected each river level meter reader to one at Welsh Bridge in Shrewsbury to Twitter. So they started tweeting their levels. And everything was going great. And I thought, you know what, this is great. We're doing all right here. This is brilliant. BBC, Channel 4. And we won the World Open Data Awards. We got invited up to London, me and Eric, and I remember going there, and it was the ODI, Open Data Institute. And the boss of that was Sir Tim Berners-Lee, and he was there at this event, and he was presenting the awards. And we were up against Wikipedia, the United Nations, and I thought, we've got no chance here. So me and Eric had a few drinks. We were getting a bit, sloshed. And lo and behold, we bloody won it, didn't we?
You have to go up on stage. What's that got?
I freely admit I was slightly got on the stage, and then Sir Tim Berners-Lee giving us this award, and I'm thinking, wow, we've won now another award. We're going to get, everybody knows us. The environment agency knows us. Meanwhile, the MSN were doing us, were getting us to do all sorts of crazy stuff with marketing.
Yeah.
And my job there was what would be called a copyright in the advertising industry. I'd have to think of an idea, present it to the client, build the software. And we worked with people like Warner Brothers. We did something for the Harry Potter movies, all sorts of Formula One. There's loads of the Smurfs.
Yeah.
Did a project for the Smurfs, a movie. And we were doing serious software as well. We did we did a match for the Olympics. We did a map for a firm that does piracy at sea. We were doing serious stuff as well as doing these marketing things, these crazy marketing ideas, which were just basically somebody wants to sell Ragnar water.
Yeah.
I've got to come up with a concept using technology or software to try and sell that to consumers. I'll give you another one. We got one for Black & Decker lawnmowers. And Black & Decker lawnmowers in the US. By now we're doing stuff in the States as well. And this guy goes, okay, we want to sell lawnmowers. What is that? And he was like, I know. Do you remember Dr. Dot when you were a kid? Dr. Dot?
Yeah.
So the idea was you go on Bing Maps, and in America they call it yard work, gardening. And not everyone's got a lawn in the States, remember? So Texas and stuff, it's pretty dry, so there are lawns, but, other parts do. And the idea was you use Dr. Dot on your garden, on your lawn, and it will work out the area of that lawn and recommend the right lawnmower.
Yeah.
So you're using technology.
Yeah, to the spacing and everything else. So,
to promote the product.
Yeah.
And making it engaging for the end user and for the consumer. The number one rule is keep it simple. Mm-hmm. Because you've got all sorts. You've got a professor on there, and you've got my mum on there, right? So, and my mum, bless her, she's not the most technically proficient person in the world, right? So, if you're trying to do a consumer, sell it to the consumer, you've got to make sure it's simple enough to use, but also slightly entertaining.
Yeah.
So, for example, there we had a project for MSN to celebrate the Battle of Britain, and I managed to get hold of a load of maps of London, which were German Luftwaffe maps of London, what they were using to bomb London.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got some aerial photography from London and from the Imperial Army. Again, I did a job for them, so I knew some people there. And we used Time Map, where I did it before. So we used Time Map so that you could go over to London, you could see the target where the Germans were going to bomb. It was.
I say that's cool. I mean, it's one of the. It is. It's that thing of like, I shouldn't be cool, but it is cool. It's like it's.
Well, we noticed the dwell time, and it was hours.
Yeah.
And this guy phones me up from Microsoft,
which is great.
Yeah. This guy from Microsoft phones me up and says, "My boy has been on your thing for hours and hours and hours. I can't get him off it." I said, "Thank you very much." And then Microsoft got an award, got a reward for that. The company that did the. I'm just trying to think of their name now, great big agency, Dare or something. I can't remember. They got an award for the Harry Potter thing. Mm-hmm. To be fair, I was invited to the award ceremonies and stuff. I didn't win either of them. But I was invited up, and so we were basically.
Is that because you had previous from the speaches when you had one? Is that because you had previous from the speeches? Like, God, if he wins, he's had a future trip.
We won an award for innovation from the Guardian Award. The guy who would be on the fastest car in the world, can't remember his name now, presented me with the award there. So things are going quite well,
Yeah.
We've got this serious software. We've got the marketing campaigns, and we've got the flood stuff. And as was about 2014, 2015, I'm beginning to think, well, we're rocking and rolling. Didn't do much around Shropshire.
Yeah. Everything's international, yeah.
Yeah, it was London, and so we weren't doing much around here, and that was my fault. It just never happened, so we were just pursuing what we had, And this perfect storm came. The marketing online was starting to change. Social media was getting much more important. Rather than doing what you call a standalone website where you drive traffic to grow a movie, you would do a campaign on Facebook or Snapchat or later on TikTok,
Yeah.
So that was changing. The models were changing. So that was starting to not disappear. We're still doing them, and I did some great fun things. I met some really interesting people, did stuff with movie stars, did something for a Bollywood star called Shahrukh Khan, did a movie for him called Ra1, which is a Bollywood science fiction film.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway, we did that. I did stuff with Bernie Ecclestone,
Okay.
Formula One.
We had a Bollywood film here.
Oh, did you? Oh, yes, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Ra1, was it?
I can't remember what
This was he was a robot science fiction.
Jordan, can you remember? They wouldn't tell
This is
me.
quite a long time ago, right?
This
So-
was I'm trying to remember because we've done two, but there was one. So I remember it because they stopped telling me because that.
You're not allowed to say before.
You know that's simple, and I'm awful for this stuff, right? So I was literally I stood next to our sales manager.
Yeah.
And I can't remember where we were, but we were off to a meeting somewhere.
Yeah.
And I had a phone call from the BBC. And it was just the usual sort of people that call. So it's always sort of same people from the entertainment side of things writing the report. And they went, hi, Joel, I'm calling about some production that's going on at Shrewsbury. And I was like, okay, we had two prisons at the time. So I was talking about the production. I was like, oh, which prison? They went, oh, Shrewsbury. I went, oh, okay. And they went, can you tell us something about it? I went,
Not really.
I've got no idea what you're talking about. Like, I didn't even know there was a production in Shrewsbury because I'd gone beyond even being told about these things. I stood there to the sales manager. Well, apparently there's a production at Shrewsbury. And she went, yeah, no, there is. I went, oh, yeah, no, apparently there is a production at Shrewsbury. She went, yeah, it's there for 4 days. I was there for 4 days. And he was like, okay, well, is there anything you can tell us about it? I was like, I don't know anything. I said, hold on. I said, what's going on? She went, oh, it's this production. They're filming this. They're from this. And apparently it's this production. They're from this. She went, no, what are you doing? And I was like, I can neither say nor deny, confirm or deny that there's this production. And he was like, okay, I'll put that in print. And I was like, oh, no, what have I done? But yeah, it turned out there was this Bollywood film. And then we came back the next day. And they had these massive dance scenes all the way down the prison way.
Yeah. And there's a musical in there.
Yeah, and it looked like something. That was unbelievable. And I remember when they went back and they were producing it for, I think, the Indian version of Netflix.
Okay.
And they said to us, oh, we need to brand the prison, but we don't really know what to call it. Can we just call it Shrewsbury Prison? Do you mind if we use the actual name? And we're like, no, that's fine.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Probably should charge you more for a license on it, but
least
it was it's good for us. And it was like number 3 on Netflix over there for ages. It was massive. It was just huge, and we had no idea how big this thing was going to be. It was absolutely monstrous. Didn't capitalize on the marketing potential at all because we just had no idea. We were just so far behind the times. But yeah, so all sorts of stuff. It's huge.
We did one for Warner Brothers, which was so it was Warner Brothers was the client. The marketing agency was to try and make it fun, and it was going to be on the MSN platform. And, the idea is we would make by now we launched this product called Deep Zoom, which is a bit like apps. There's tiles, you go down and zoom in, and I had this idea of making the poster of the Harry Potter film out of the faces of the people the fans.
Yes, that's really cool.
And it went back. It's crazy. It was really. So then the first 10,000 people that uploaded their picture, we'd have to vet the pictures as well, make sure they were decent, And the first 10,000 people that uploaded their face, we printed a poster of the Harry Potter poster in Shrewsbury and delivered it to them. And I have no idea how many posters 10,000 actually is in the tube.
Yeah, it's a big
I'm just trying to remember the now new era. I'm giving them a plug now. There's a new era. I don't know what they're called then, but the same folks. And they're one of our customers today. So anyway, and then a room of 4 or 5 times the size of this. And it's absolutely chock-a-block with these tubes and these posters going out to these Harry Potter fans. And we were sending all this off. It was just, and then the night of the premiere, the 100 nearest billboards to Leicester Square had our poster in it, or made up of the fans.
That was so cool.
And it was great. It was really good. The only slight thing was I wasn't allowed to put the Shoothill logo on the poster.
Oh, can you not squeeze it in there somewhere?
The movies are very, very sensitive. But this is true. We sent off these posters, so there's no Shoothill logo on these posters. Nothing to say who did it. Not from Shrewsbury, nothing like that. Sent these posters off. 10,000 went out, to say, and it's all over the internet. Oh my God, I've got my poster, I've got my poster, And literally, all it said, I was on the tube, it said, in case of non-delivery, please return to Shoothill, Shrewsbury. And we got about 50 returns on these 10,000. And we still, believe it or not, this is like 2011, we still get people today who emailed us to say, you don't have any of those posters left, do you? Because I've lost it. Because it's one of those things that people...
Yeah,
they were part of it.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's the magic of Harry Potter. I don't confess, I've never seen that film. I've never seen Harry
Okay,
Potter.
not. Okay.
It was the last one, and Deathly Hallows, was it?
Yeah, yeah, part 1, part 2.
I think it was part 2.
Yeah.
It might be the part 2. Or with a wand. That was the
I
poster.
think they've all got ones. I think so.
yeah,
I wouldn't say I'm a hard fan, but yeah.
And we've got a big 6, which is
Wands, cloaks, that sort of stuff, all in it. Yeah.
I don't see I don't see the film.
Well, if you don't see it, you don't see it. And there's so many people that don't look at their source work and stuff.
In science fiction film, and we took the original poster, and we made it up of secret barcodes.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to find the secret barcodes because it was source code. The movie. It was about what's a great film. It was actually directed by David Bowie's son. I didn't know.
Yes.
And it was actually a brilliant film. We were involved in that. That was really good. I was only in the States though. And things were really well, as I say, you know. But I made a fatal mistake. I assumed that the Environment Agency would take notice of us within the World Open Day Awards. I assumed they'd take notice of the BBC, they go live for the map. I assumed that they'd take notice of David Cameron tweeting about the map, and so on and so forth, that this was a good thing. What it didn't do was, again, I'm a businessman, you're a businessman, they're not business people, they are politicians, political, and we were known very high up inside the agency, and we were being used in things like Cobra meetings and stuff. And I assumed everything was going to be great. And I believe, I don't know, that somebody somewhere in the Environment Agency said, this map thing you're showing us, or in the government even, cabinet office level, who's doing that? Oh, it's this crazy firm from Shrewsbury in Shropshire. Who? Like a little firm like Shoothill. Who's this Shoothill guys? Who are these people? We weren't a gigantic systems integrator. We weren't Capgemini or any of the Fujitsu or any of those guys who they're used to dealing with, right? And they're used to spending 20 million for something, in my opinion, that could cost 500,000, but there's that story. And I found out, which was very bad news at the time, and they copied it. And they'd done it behind their backs, say it publicly. And we were dubbed like a ton of proverbial.
Do you know, is that licensable for you guys?
We took it to a barrister.
Software?
Well, we took it to a barrister, actually. This barrister, believe it or not, he was a specialist in software, and he's like, give you 3 hours for free.
Yeah.
Free. So we said, and he said, listen, you don't own the data. That's coming from the Environment Agency.
Yeah.
You don't own big maps. That's in Microsoft.
Yeah.
You don't own even the icons that you use to describe floods, because that's, again, the Environment Agency. And what you've actually done is you put together, fundamentally it's a map, right? So you've actually put together data in an effective way, but you can't copyright that. And like I could write something that does everything that Windows does, as long as it doesn't look like Windows. I could rewrite Windows, which would be pointless, but I could. Microsoft can't sue me. So you can have software that does the same thing, does it a different way.
Is this similar to what they have with music, where you'll have sort of the same 3, 4, 5?
There's a
chords you can use.
There's a video in this, the Verb. You know the song Bittersweet Symphony?
Yeah.
And they got sued by the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
By the owners of the Rolling Stones, moved copyrighted. And when you listen to it, you can say, I mean, yeah, I got it. Yeah, it does a bit.
It's like Vanilla Ice and one of the Queen songs. I think We Will Rock You or something. It's like, the intros are so similar. And I remember watching the documentary with Vanilla Ice going, no, because mine goes like this. But the intros like this. And then they're so...
It was a book called Kid and Joke in the 80s, and they did a song that was literally ripped off by Nirvana.
Yeah.
So with software, it's like the look and feel you can protect. You can't protect the source code because they can't see the source code. So if somebody does steal the source code, you can protect that. So it was a very, very bittersweet symphony into them. Bitter pill, wasn't it? And it was very serious for us because we put a lot of effort into this now, and it was a big earner for us. And we were building engagement again, on our own.
What sort of money is that bringing in for you each year?
We got up to about, on the flood stuff, about 600,000 or so, which is quite a lot.
Yeah, when you employ 12 people, it's
13 to that.
It's a big chunk.
It was a big chunk, yeah, it was. And something that's gone. I think the EA bit was about 250. I'm just trying to remember. But then, of course, the BBC and everybody else cancelled.
Yeah, and
so we couldn't get long-term contracts. We can't because we're small. The government says, I don't know if it even bothers still saying, but they used to say we want to engage with SMEs. It's complete and utter rubbish.
I don't see it. So.
It's rubbish.
Yeah.
What they do is they go, oh, how big are you? Well, you're not big enough, really. You know, you might go bust. You have been in business 20 years. Yeah, I know, but it's just rubbish. So we don't bother. There's a thing. There used to be a thing called what was it called? God, just trying to take the mick out there. E-Cloud or something. E-Cloud. I call it E-Cloud. The idea was that SMEs could register once and not have to go through all the rigmarole and all the.
It's taken me 3 months to get a bank account for a new company.
Oh,
It's ridiculous. Absolutely nuts.
E-Cloud.
Yeah.
It was G-Cloud.
Yeah.
G-Cloud, that's it. I call it G-Cloud. And you're supposed to register on this thing, and you don't have to go through the vetting process. You know, you do all your health and safety regulations and all this rubbish. You got this. Sorry, it is rubbish. There, I said it. And anti-slavery and all these things that you've got to fill the forms in. If you don't fill the forms in right, you don't get the job. Okay, well, I've got to fill the forms in. And we applied for that, put it, stuff, and never got it. So we don't really bother going for tenders.
Because you must fall into all the ISO worlds as well, of all the regulations and stuff, and 9001. And
Well, there's another story. I saw a big time donkeys years ago. It was actually up in Shetland, and Shetland Council said, "We've seen what you're doing. We think it's great. Applying for this big job. I think at the time it was about 75,000, which is good money for us then. And I spent all weekend not only filling the forms in, but also giving them ideas, screenshots, visuals of what we wanted to do. And I thought, we're definitely going to get this. And then phoned up after about a week. And you know, sometimes when somebody on the phone, you can tell how young they are. This lady got on the phone. And I said, well, we got the job, you know. Hey, let's go like that. Oh, no, unfortunately, no, you didn't. And they have to tell you why. So I said, could you tell me why? Oh, what it is you filled in the wrong year's health and safety regulations. You said you complied with 2009 instead of 2010.
Yeah.
And so basically, they're looking for mistakes. They're not looking for who's best for the job, in my opinion. So it was like this thing happened with the Environment Agency. Same time, we've got the agency world is changing, and we weren't in any trouble, but it was serious, you know.
You got a shift, have you got a pivot?
Yeah, about this time, our friend Mr. Jevons had joined. He joined the company, so I'm going to join. We got on really well, you know. I liked him and he and all that stuff.
So what, 16, 17?
Yeah, 2016, you're right. Just at the point where we're quite, you know, we just had all this grief for the environment.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And he goes out, listen, how do you know where you're going to get your next Harry Potter or your next... I said, I don't really. I just know loads of people, you know. And then the thing is, a phrase I always use, it's like, you know, try and make your friends through business, not the other way around. Try not to do business with your friends.
Yeah.
Make your friends through business. And if you're friendly with people will do business with people they don't like. Of course they will. And you have to sometimes. But most people want to do business with people that they like and they trust and they believe in and that sort of stuff, you know. And I've always had this approach: what you see is what you get. So I don't think you can sell to anybody trying to put on a phony accent or, you know, trying to make like you're cleverer than what you are or whatever, because people see through that and they think, that's not that bloke, and they don't trust you. And when you're selling stuff, especially software, especially mission critical software that's going to be in a business that our business relies on, they want to know if it's going to bloody work.
Yeah.
And they don't. There's a horror stories in software. Lots and lots of horror stories where people spend loads of money on a piece of software that's pretty rubbish, really. Doesn't really work. They felt the developer was really late. And you hear it a lot. And we still get quite a lot of people who've already wasted money on the product. And they say, can you fix this? And we say, no, because we didn't write it. And they have to come up with the really nasty conclusion that the only way they're going to get this thing launched is to start again. And that's not a nice thing for them, because they're thinking, I've just spent a load of money on this thing, it doesn't work. Now I'm going to spend more money on getting it work. So Simon says, well, look, with the custom software stuff, you've done all this amazing stuff, or, you know, real serious stuff as well as that. Why don't we start looking more local? Start looking more Shropshire, Midlands, best stuff. And that suited me, because I get sick and tired of catching the train. I said that
Travel, isn't it?
I'll travel everywhere, all over the place. and I had enough, really. And I said, enjoyed it about the train. I was up and down the train and spending all this money on the train. It's ridiculous.
So it was never on time.
And that's rubbish.
They talk about, they go, don't you want to be able to travel to direct route to London? You'd be able to get there like in this time. I'm like, look, I'm quite happy.
As long as
I know it's going to get there at the time you tell me. And the journey is reasonable.
Shropshire and the local railway, next to the Shropshire. Do you ever use that? Oh, it was brilliant. There's this little railway company. There are 2 trains a day.
Yeah.
Going from Wrexham to London and then stop at Shrewsbury. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Like 40 quid, and they make you breakfast.
Oh, that's cool.
It was fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, Virgin wouldn't let them stop in Wolves.
Yeah.
So they never made any money, and eventually they went bust, and it was really. And then suddenly you've got to spend all this money. And
Virgin obviously lost that.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What are they doing? We were stealing a million miles a metre.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And I think there was, again, I can't remember who it was, but I think I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about how much money they'd spent on bat surveys for the development of it. And there was something crazy, like 100,000 pages. I'm going to have to fact check that. But it was like 100,000 pages, like just on bat surveys. And I know from just here in the prison of doing the development, just the and as I say, you've obviously got House Builder Pro, haven't you? That you've built, but the hoops that developers have to jump.
Because I've always spent an hour and a half here, boys. I mean, I don't want to.
Time is money.
Your time.
I don't know. You can't even get out. It's a jail room. I feel like there's a lot.
I've been asking you about so House Builder Pro investment. So Simon says let's start looking around here, around Shropshire and whatnot. And I've got to say, I never really thought about it much. And we started doing jobs around here, and one of them was a building firm called Shingler's. A friend of mine, now, called Jez. Jez comes into the office. He said, we offer all these choices for people when they buy a house. You can have this sort of sink, that sort of paint, this or this and that. Yeah. We can imagine how many millions of combinations there are.
Tons.
So you're bound to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And he wanted a system that would register that and program that, and they know that number 14's got this paint, number 16's got that colours, and all that. And he said, "How do I know you're going to do it? You could do it because it's complicated." It wasn't so. And I said, "I tell you what, if we don't do it, they'll pay me." And I've said that to quite a few people over the years.
I wish you'd said that to us.
Well, I don't know why we didn't. I've said that to quite a few people over the years. And that security one I told you about the pirates, that was £200,000. And we didn't get paid until we built it. And that was, it was a very complicated system. Anyway, I said that to Jez. We built in this thing. He liked it. Great. We got penny. Everybody's happy. Then he said, I've got people coming into the showrooms, and we put it into a spreadsheet, and Julie writes this, and then Frank writes that, and they overwrite, and we lose the thing, and somebody overwrites the spreadsheet, and delete this, and delete that. We don't know what's going on. I said, well, that's a CRM. That's what you need. There's a CRM. We built that for you. So that's specialised for a builder, asking all the right questions and all that sort of stuff. Are you a first-time buyer? Have you got a mortgage? All the stuff that you need to know. And then he said, we also have snags and fixes after we sell a house. We've got to repair any snags.
Snag lists.
Yeah.
Plaster. Yeah, just shipwrights.
Yeah. It just, it's exactly.
Yeah. If you're building blocks. Yeah.
Cement, water, things move. Just building a house. And so can you build that? He said, yeah, you can build that thing. So suddenly now we've got all these different components. And he says, I think there's a product here that we could sell to other builders. And I did a bit of a presentation up at, what's the winery up the road?
What's to say, Waxel, but that's the Somerset. Henco. We'll blog Henco. They've got the same. They've got the same lenders as us. Because I know when they go see that, they come see us a bunch of so. Yeah.
Lovely place, lovely people.
Yeah. No, it's great. I like. Yeah.
It is nice. Okay. I did a presentation there to a bunch of builders, and we sold a couple of builders on it.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's great. That's good. Then we didn't do anything for a year. COVID came. And so on. And then we thought, what, we've got to do something with this House Builder Pro. We call it House Builder Pro. And we interviewed a guy, his name's Nick, as a sales guy. He's now the director of that.
He was with us the other day. Oh, yeah, he was so funny. Yeah.
And really good at his job, really enthusiastic about the product.
Yeah.
And so now we've got a product, we've got some of the custom software stuff. That's all going well. We did the projects around here, Darwin Group, big engineering company, loads of And over the years, and this is genuine. This is why people you can't fix our laptops, can you? You can't do our servers or our printers and stuff. And it was all a bit sort of like, not really. We didn't do it. We didn't do what's called, IT services or managed service provision.
Yeah, managed services. Yeah.
We didn't really do it, and it wasn't that we couldn't. We just didn't really, think about it too much. And Eric, although his background is engineering, Eric wasn't like, I'm really keen to go out and fix some of these printers.
Yeah.
So we never bothered. We would refer those sorts of projects, those sorts of deals to other MSPs around the place, that we knew. And it got silly. It was getting to the point where loads of people were asking us, and we thought, well, why? Because if you're building mission-critical software for somebody, that this is usually how it happens, you know, through building the software, really, let's see, intimate, but secret information about our business, what it's turning over, who its customers are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about sensitive information that you know about because you're building software. And usually the person commissioning the software, or very often anyway, is the boss, the MD, the CEO, whoever it is, maybe the FD.
It was significant numbers.
Yeah. So you get to know these people, whoever they are, and they get to trust you, because obviously you're building, they're invested in you, sorry. And by the time the project finishes, and I know I would say this, wouldn't I? We've never really had here I go, saying it now. We've never really had any kind of problems. We've always delivered. Customer guys are folk called base architects in town.
Yes.
We built them a system. And I would say this wouldn't, but they know us, we've done something amazing for them. And by the time that you finish the project, and as I say, it's gone well, the CEO, MD, whoever it is, thinks, well, they're a fabulous firm. And I know that sounds really big-headed and bragging.
No, but I think this. You'll have an opinion on this because you obviously spent time in America and Canada. But one of the things I've always found, and I kind of always sort of sit in the back of my mind, I wonder how I'd have got on in the US as an entrepreneur, because when you do it in the UK and you find success, however you determine success, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And I tend to find people are a little bit, offish about it. They don't kind of like it. And I was on holiday with the family, and we were in Mexico, and I was in the pool, and pool with a bar and everything, and
talking to America.
Yeah, some Americans come up, hey, what do you do? What do you do? And I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur. He's like, what kind of thing are you into? As opposed to a real entrepreneur. I'm like, I'm into it. What do you do? So we bought this decommissioned prison, and we've turned it into a tourist attraction. She's like Alcatraz. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. He goes, dude, give me a high five. So I give him a high five. I'm like, this is cool. And he's like, hey guys, come on over here. He's brought over like 5 friends. His wife's going, check out John, this entrepreneur. He's got this prison. He does this. I'm like, actually, we've got 2. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys are like amazing. You're like another bright. Everyone's just so excited. I was like, this is cool.
Americans will tell you how they made it.
Yeah.
I do believe this about Britain a little bit, is that we've got a bit of an attitude. It's like, who's that Jill think he is?
That's exactly.
Not you worked hard all your bloody life.
I'm so lucky.
Took a load of risks.
Yeah.
Put your mortgage on.
Your mortgage, your marriage, your kids, always sacrifices from.
You're in deep.
Yeah.
Right, so you're taking risks.
Yeah.
You take the gamble here and there.
It's exactly. It's a simple for all of us.
I mean, I don't drive a flash car, for example. I'm not into cars, but people who get a buzz out of a flash car, good luck to them.
Yeah.
But in Britain, we've got this attitude like, look at him in that car. Who do you think he is? A little bit.
That's what Tim says about me.
Do they? Yeah, I was in America once, and I was at a trade show, and I had to fly home on the Sunday. The trade show finished on Friday, and the stand next door to me was Symantec antivirus company. I got to know them, friends. And this guy said, "What are you doing when you fly home?" American guy. I said, "I'm flying home on Sunday. What are you doing tomorrow?" "Oh, I don't know. I'm around the hotel. It was cheaper to fly home on Sunday than on Saturday."
Yeah.
So he goes, "We go fishing tomorrow. Bit of boating. Would you like to come on the boat?" And I said, "Yeah, my mate, he's got a boat." And we go out on the lake, and we'll have a good time. You just get a few beers, wait here at the hotel, we'll pick you up. And I'm thinking there's going to be a speedboat beside this table,
Yeah.
Anyway, this 18-wheel truck, and this boat was about 50, 80 feet long. I mean, it had two Maserati engines. Right? Maserati engines, not engines, Maserati engines. Anyway, they get this massive boat onto this lake, and the guy, lovely guy, great guy, and he goes, he puts the throttle on the noise, and this thing's doing 90 miles an hour. This was a boat and a half. Right? So we pulled up to this island, we kept trying to beat it and chat to this boat, and the boat was called Gracias. I said to this guy, I said, the boat was, he said, the boat, he said, there's a big hole in the wall and you shot money in it. If you're going to buy a boat like this, you don't moan about the pet. You don't know. If you buy this boat, you know it's going to cost you a lot of money. That's fair. Good on you. How did you get it? And he basically bought a house in Texas. He was in the software industry. And this house in Texas, he wanted a lawn. And in Texas, a lawn is a big thing because it's dry. Yeah. So he got all the right stuff and the right seed and whatever, and the water mix and the nutrients and everything to make this lawn. And it looked great. And the guy next door was an estate agent, realtor. I said, he said, I'm selling houses. I think I could sell a lot more houses if we were a lawn like that. Would you mind having a go? Doing a couple of lawns for me? And this is him telling me the story, and I'm thinking, around it, okay, So then he said, anyway, things moved on a little bit, and now I've got 180 people in 4 states. He was, that's how they made money, And they got this attitude of you, good luck. And I always have that thing, good luck to you. Your business, great. I want you to do really well. Why would I be jealous of it? If you become a multi-millionaire, I don't know, you might already be, John.
No, unfortunately not.
Well, I don't know. But if you do, I'll be happy for you. Yeah. I'll be thinking, good luck to him, fair play. And that is, we've got to get that more of that in the UK.
I totally agree, and and being really open about it, it's taken me a long time to kind of get there myself, and I think that conditioning has been there, because I've always been an entrepreneur. I think that's just in my bones. And, sometimes, and I don't do it anymore, but I certainly used to look at other business owners and go, well, how dare you do so well? Like, how can you be doing so well? How can you be doing so well? And I'm not. That's not fair. I can remember looking at certain things. Well, I want to be able to do that, and I want to do that. I want to do that.
That's what we do.
That question. And I had to, and for ages, and I had to really work on myself and sort of go, actually, why are you getting frustrated with other people doing well? You should be celebrating that, and more importantly, you should be speaking to them and learning how to do it. And then go, because all of that is down on you. So I had to really sort of look at myself and kind of go, oh no, I've got to.
I did find when I first started, making things started going going a bit well. I did find a couple of friends that didn't like it, and I try not to talk about work in my personal life with people. Yeah. Because not everybody's got money, and I understand what it's like when you got no money, because I didn't have money. I was very, skinned most of my young life. And I did notice one in particular who I just felt was jealous, and I wasn't doing that well. I was flying around when I was in California and all that sort of stuff, and Korea was starting to take off a little bit. And I thought, well, why? I want my friends to do well. I want everybody to do well, really. Yeah. Even my competitors. I don't care if my competitors, but
I like the competition. I like competition. I think it keeps you honest.
When we first started out on the software side, I know it sounds really crazy, but we didn't do any marketing. We didn't, and we did our competition, but not round here, not in Shropshire anyway, because we would do Harry Potter stuff and all this crazy stuff. You don't know why. So we didn't really have much competition. As we've grown into more services like MSP and stuff, especially, and also we now do web design for people. We build websites for people and that as well. So the number of companies that we're touching, or at least competing against, I hate it. Yeah. Competition is good. It's good that there's other people out there. Yeah, it's good. So as that's happened, obviously we try. But again, I try to have this attitude to competitors. They're not my enemies. They're my,
they help to drive the market.
Yeah, there's some good ones. There's some really good firms out there, and they're doing good work. And if they do a good job for their customers, great, good on them. Let them get on with it. If they don't do a good job, then we'll take over. If that happens. But I don't believe in. Of course, Somebody once told me I went to Kellogg School of Marketing in Chicago. I won a scholarship over there years ago, and it was a fantastic course. And Philip Kotler was one of the professors there, and he invented the word marketing. And we all went out for dinner. It's a story I say to people, and a bunch of Brits, we all won this scholarship, as I say. And we went there for 6 weeks, and we went for dinner with Philip Kotler, who is a third guru of marketing worldwide. He's dead now; he's passed away now. And he said to us, "What's the difference between sales and marketing?" We were all trying to give clever answers, Everybody around the table, "Oh well, sales is this, sales, marketing is that." Everybody was all trying to be clever, Well, no, he says it's really, really easy. He said it's really, really easy to learn the difference. The difference between sales and marketing is the difference between hunting and farming.
Okay. Yeah.
How? Because he said if you get the marketing right, you don't need to go out hunting.
Yeah.
Because you're farming.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that I've tried to do in my career anyway, certainly in Shoothill, is to sort of, build relationships with people, get them to understand that we are a real employee. We don't use a load of technical BS to confuse people. They're not interested in that. You're interested in running a prison. You're not really interested in whether this thing or that does that stuff in software. You're interested in what software does for your business, how it works, how you can use it, what's it going to do for you as a benefit. You don't really care. Most people don't anyway. They don't really care how it works, but they do care what it does, and how it does it. And the other thing I think we try to stress as well is with people, and I've noticed this with other companies, is let's say we build a piece of software for somebody, and I forgot Julie's not here Wednesdays. We need to change that because it's going to mean da. And you go, and then you go, okay, we'll just change it. And they go, oh, there's no charge. No, we won't charge you for things like that. We won't charge you because, if I charge you extra for doing a small change, you're all going to think, oh, every time I ask this bloke to do a change, I've got to pay him this money. Yeah. And it just gets on people's nerves. They don't like it. They just don't like it. So we don't do it, especially on the web stuff, on the website stuff. There's I don't know, you move address or something. I don't get it. It could be anything. And you want to change the address. And you can't do it yourself because there's no ability for you to do it. And you phone up the company and you say, oh, can you just change we're changing the name or whatever it is. And they make a charge. And you think, it's a bit like going to a lawyer.
Yeah, as soon as you pick up the phone, I can hear the click. I can hear the start.
They just want to talk to the bloody guy and not be charged. Yeah. So then you don't speak to the lawyer because you don't want to include the charge. And you end up
use AI and hope for the best.
Yeah. So we've made a point of that, and that comes from the Microsoft stuff.
That's customer service, though, eh?
It pays off.
So important.
We didn't do it Google reviews, but if you look at our Google reviews, go and have a look at our Google reviews.
Jordan, have a look at that Google reviews.
Yeah,
I'm Jordan.
There's what people say out there. I'm really chuffed about. I'm really pleased about because I'm even more pleased nowadays because it isn't me.
Yeah,
it's not me doing it. And I know we're going to wrap up soon.
No, you do. You have to my rush.
My I can't say philosophy, but my way of doing business.
Yeah, it's a style, isn't it?
Yeah, and I love it now because I don't have to. I'm not telling them what to do, but they get on with it, and they all like each other as well. We don't get through many people. We don't have a lot of
quite good retention.
Very, exceptional. I think the last person to leave us was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's one. Over the years, of course, people move and stuff. But no, our retention is really high. I think it's a fun place to work. It's probably a bit too rowdy for some of the programmers and some of the techie guys because we've got
a style.
We've got a few loud people in work. Yeah. Not me, obviously.
Did you buy when you went into doing providing software? When you went into providing services,
yes,
IT services.
Yes.
Did you buy?
Yes.
Did you acquire?
We bought a firm down near Stansted Airport.
Yeah. Okay.
We do the editing. We didn't know them, and we bought that firm because they've got customer choice customers. The vision, if I get to Basically, the idea was we used to do software fine. We were well known for that. My only presentation to Shrewsbury, I still say what we're known for. People go, flag, that was like 10 years ago. So we were doing really well on the software dev side. We got some great customers around here as well. And then we started doing the MSP stuff. So now we're doing MSP stuff as well. So we're doing IT services side. Because I say the CEOs, MDs trust us. And they think, well, if we could do the software, we might give you on the IT, right? And then we start doing some of the marketing and SEO and web stuff. So I mean, I don't know about your business, but lots of businesses have got somebody doing their web stuff, somebody doing their MSP stuff, somebody else doing software over here. And you literally got 4 or 5 firms you're dealing with.
Yeah, it does get a bit, yeah.
And you think, shit, I want just one firm I can say, get on with it, right? So that was, and because we've got this software side, which is hard, the software side is really hard because you need software programmers, you've got to have experience, we don't even know how many jobs we've done. So we say 400, but we think it might be 500. Because of that, I don't want to belittle the MSP side because it's not. It's a very responsible thing. You're looking after somebody's, online security and so on. But compared to building custom software business systems that are mission critical,
the salaries must be quite different as well.
Say again?
Salary is quite different.
You mean other people?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've got skilled people. Yeah. Some of our people have been maybe 15 years. A long time. So that makes it can make it a commitment from a company. If you're spending £50,000 on a piece of software, you want it to work.
Absolutely.
Or £100,000 or something like that. We do smaller systems, of course we do. We do stuff for 5, 10.
So did you pick these guys up, then you knew them, and therefore it's a very strategic acquisition in the case of bringing that in and bringing that piece of work in. You knew you wanted to get that.
Well, we realised because of this company's got some nice companies that it was servicing. Right. We could then go and sell the software services as well. Yeah. So we then start doing. So that's really where we're going is a full service type operation where we would do. Because a lot of people don't realise that the possibility of using custom software, they will manage their business on Excel. And I say this, lots of businesses do. They manage themselves on Excel. But Microsoft will not change Excel because you closed out on a Friday afternoon. Yeah. You'll have to base your way that you use Excel for your business around the way that Excel works, not the way that you might work. And so there's no common denominator the kind of customers that we have. They're all sorts. There's no sector, although we have done a fair bit in the building sector since House Builder Pro because we built some custom software for builders.
Because the reason the software we came to you for, and I don't know if you're aware of why we didn't go with you guys.
Very simple, Joel.
Well, let me check your reviews first, just to make sure.
All 5 stars.
Oh, there we are, Joel. I did tell you.
Are they 5-star rating, George? Are they? Is that? Sure, I didn't. So chuffed by this. So when we did it, the way we approached this, and
was it a CRM? It was a CRM.
It was exactly that. So we'd reached a point. I've used CRMs for years in different businesses and different companies I've worked for. And, we started very small, a couple of us, and we grew and sort of simple. And we got to a point where we had a sales team and a marketing team, very small, literally like a couple of people in each, quite small. Yeah. But I got really angry one day because they just weren't. They were kind of funneling people through, spending a lot of money marketing. I was working marketing, so funneling these people through. Well, kind of.
These are visitors now.
This is B2B, and our B2B. So schools, very much all B2B side. Everything from schools. Probably one of our bigger markets, corporate businesses, but very much a B2B sales transition.
Got it. Yeah.
And so we were driving all the leads through. We just weren't getting the conversions, and the salespeople weren't quite good.
What were you using?
Well, I thought we were using Excel.
Right.
That's what I thought we were using.
Something was it?
No, just Excel. Just literally, just logging them into Excel. This is very sort of early days. I think this is maybe 2018, maybe 2019.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I knew we had to do it, and then one of our salespeople left / got fired / got let go. I can't remember exactly what happened, but they went. And I remember looking at their desk and we were sort of chatting, and then that sales manager would go, "Oh, they just weren't doing their job." So I was like, "Okay, fine, fair enough." I was like, "But that's part of your responsibility." Moving stuff around, rejigging their desk, picked up a keyboard, and underneath it was just scraps of paper, which was their CRM. I was like, "Guys, what the this?" And they were like, we lost that. Like, we basically lost that lead because we couldn't find the
Yeah.
So I was like, guys, right, you need a CRM. So, right, your task now, go find us a CRM. Off you go. And I said, come back to me with like 3 or 4 options. So they went off. So they went and they spoke to 3 or 4 different companies, and one of which was you guys, which was to custom build our own CRM.
Yeah. You're really good fit your unique business.
We are, and they came back to me. They said, right, we've got 3 options here for you. We know which one you're going to like, and we know which one you're going to go, which is probably the worst thing to say to me, because as soon as I say that, I'm going the other direction. I don't even know what the options are, but I know I'm going the other way because you've told me what I'm going to do. So I'm deliberately going to try. So anyway, and the one they thought I was going to choose was you guys, and it was because they said that it's a really good company, it's locally based, they're really passionate, they're really good at all, so really good things. I was like, okay, cool, I get that. I was like, is there a danger, though, that we end up having to just manage our CRM all the time? We're paying a lot to manage our CRM when we took on something like Pipedrive,
right?
And all they do is CRM. So we pay a licensing fee, and that's all they do.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, yeah, probably. And it's back to that kind of like, well, Joel said this or Rod said this, therefore we've all got to say yes, which is the last thing you want as a business. You want people to charge you all the time.
Yeah, you do. Cool, I remember that.
So I don't have enough of it. But so we went to Pipedrive, and we used Pipedrive, and there were certain things I really liked about Pipedrive, and better than I liked about Salesforce. And again, the way
Salesforce, a lot of stuff in Salesforce we've ever used.
Oh, it's just so big. It's like
just enormous.
It's massive. Yeah. So I was just chatting to guys about Pipedrive, and well, it does, and it is a good system, and it does work for us. And the reason why we don't get enough out of it is because of the way that we use it rather than the actual system itself. But I think we do okay, and the sales guys doing a job, and it's improving all the time. Our biggest challenge, because I've always wanted to have a software company, because I always see scale. So I'm always like, software companies are amazing. And as I said, I ran one without knowing I was running one, which is why it went under. But I was looking at the moment, we're looking at how do we automate more of our systems? And it's probably a really nice segue into AI. And I took Sam to meet one of our team over the other side who does our customer service, both B2B handshaking between the sales and the ops guys, the delivery side, and also deals with a load of the customer service coming from the B2C side.
Okay.
I think 90% of her job can now be automated and very successful.
That's not a bit of a sales pitch here. So on AI.
Yeah.
You mentioned AI. So Eric has been machine learning. I mean, going right back. So we went to see a sock company called Super Socks.
That's such a good name.
I know.
Sounds like a single
Stanbridge Way somewhere. I went with cycling and thinking, well, we did sock. Here we go, this massive warehouse, and they're producing thousands of those.
Yeah, because everyone needs socks.
Yeah, everybody needs socks. But these socks have your face on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what happened was the boss, the owner of the film was a fellow called Charlie, great guy, and unfortunately it was family day. Anyway, the problem was people would upload a picture to the website.
Yeah.
They would send the picture over to China. Some poor bugger over there would then cut the face out using Photoshop.
Yeah.
From the picture, it might be a dog, might be a cat, don't matter. Yeah. Send the picture back overnight. They print the socks, send it off to the customer. Now, the mistakes were happening. For example, they might put the wrong dog, or the person, there's 2 people, they picked the wrong one, or the photo was blurry, or there was some other problem.
Yeah.
And the customer would start moaning because there's a blurry picture, even though they uploaded a blurry picture, or
the value cost of product's not enough to have return shipping, and it was just margins in it.
So Charlie said, look, I want to be able to automate this so that the customer creates their own sock, orders the sock they want. Because they had millions of designs, millions of different designs of the actual base sock, put the face on, checks the face is right, designs the sock, bish bosh, do it. But the problem is, how can you take a face from a photograph without the customer actually trying to cut it out themselves? You want some automated way of doing it. Now, with machine learning modeling, and there, I said to Charlie, I said, well, how many pictures have you got before and after? Well, thousands, because they've done thousands of pairs of socks, right? So you've got a photo, imagine now me, my face here, you've got a photo here, like that, and then suddenly you've got me blacked out, my face blacked out. Well, the machine learning, AI, there's different words for the same stuff. You can train a model to learn what is a human face, what is an ear,
Yeah.
It doesn't know it's an ear. It just knows it's stuck to this. I'm really simplifying. Eric could give me a right bollock in it.
It's always going to sound like the wife show. There's an ear.
Yeah,
There's a cat.
And you get hairstyles and stuff. So I'm really simplifying it. Anyway, he built this model. Well, he created this model to be able to literally distinguish between a face and a dog.
Yeah.
And all that, understand what it is, cut the face out automatic, put that on the sock, so the customer then is creating their own sock. So now, Charlie's not having to get any returns because everybody's built their own sock. They put up a blurry picture, tough.
Yeah.
Because you approved it.
Yeah.
Part of the process, they improved it. So that was about, crikey, I'm just trying to remember, it was the office before, so it was a long time ago. And then we got us a job, a tickle, I should say, rather than a job, from the Imperial War Museum. They had hundreds of thousands of pictures of aircraft from World War II. I mean, lots, thousands and thousands of pictures. And in World War II, they took a picture, it might be day 3 Battle of Britain. And they wanted to know what that plane was. Was it a Heinkel? Was it a Spitfire? Was it a Messerschmitt wave? So Eric built a model to be able to identify aircraft inside a photograph. Even to the point, it got to the point where we could identify crashed aircraft. And so the Spitfire has got an elliptical wing, famous elliptical wing. Well, if a Spitfire crashes and the AI can see the elliptical wing, it's a Spitfire, right? So typical of Eric, one morning he came in, he said, I think I can make black and white pictures into colour. Now, this has been done now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, this has been done now.
Yeah.
But it was like, what? So we uploaded a picture of me in my uniform and Navy, and Bush Bosh is colour. And it was like, Christ, this is, we're just doing this on the sides, And so over the years, this is a long time ago now. I'm just trying to think how long ago. It was the old office. So it must be 6, 7, something like that. Anyway,
So long before, because like you say, machine learning's been around for ages.
Yeah.
What's changed now is the accessibility to it.
well, of course, but there's a danger with that as well, Jeff. So one of the dangers is, let's say somebody's using Grok or Chow, or any of Claude or whatever. So you could have somebody in a company, potentially, who's very clever, very good, very talented, and all the rest of it, whose boss says, hey, listen, well, I'd like to know, I'm just trying to think of something off the cuff here. I'd like to know how many people have toilet breaks and when they have a toilet break.
Yeah.
Don't know if I should go down this route, but there we are. The chap builds a piece of software that will monitor people who go to the toilet, how long they're from the desk, all done in AI, everything works great. Fantastic, brilliant, fantastic.
Exists, their CCTV systems, they can see.
What's it? You're not the right track. So now suddenly you've got this data that's GDP, very close sensitive. Yeah. It turns out somebody's got a weak bladder in the company. And then that leaks. I mean, that's a pun, isn't it? That leaks to the internet, right? And suddenly that data is available on the internet.
Yeah.
Now that company's got a major issue now.
Yeah.
Because you've published data, personal data about people's personal lives to the internet. So I'm really being facetious there. What I'm trying to say is that, sensitive data can leak to the internet via an app created by somebody inside a company, and that's one thing that happens. We also notice that we get quite a lot of people who potentially have built something that kind of works, or maybe works, or is that getting there, but isn't there, or they want to make sure that it is safe, that it is secure, that they are using it correctly. And I think it's a bit like this, isn't it? It's like, oh, this is an amazing new tool, it's going to change everything. Right, how's it going to change my business? I'm making concrete blocks, or I'm making socks, or I'm doing something, how can we use AI properly?
Yeah, what's good?
I mean, it's fantastic to create in cartoons of me, because I do it all the time. I get cartoons of me doing all sorts of stupid things. I do the bonus for it. And it is fantastic for that. And it is fantastic for, I heard about a legal company got in trouble because they was using AI to write
legal contracts, yeah,
but you're paying a lawyer for that.
Yeah.
I'm paying a lawyer a lot. I don't want an AI doing that, thanks. I want you to do it. So there's a lot of... we're only just on the beginning of it. It's very exciting, as you say. It is fantastic. One of the things it means for us is we're getting a lot of... And I don't do this. It's not me doing this. It's other people. One of them is a guy called Josh, who's been with me since he was a kid. He came on work experience when he was 14.
Oh, that's cool.
We put through his apprenticeship, put through his degree. And he's a cheeky little bugger as well. I can tell you.
How old is he now?
20. I should know. I think he's 27.
That's been like 13, 14.
He's never had a job.
Yeah.
He's never had an outside job.
No, never He's never written a CV. Oh, that's the dream, though, isn't it? What do you mean? I've never written a CV.
Yeah, you never has it. You never have. He joined us when he was.
If he does, would he use AI?
Oh, no, yeah. No, but he's massively into it, and it's so satisfying for me because, for example, now George is taking on that Mount public speaking. So he's doing presentations. He's got talking to businesses and talking to different businesses about how, specifically in AI, how AI can transform their business. We also get things like, I've got this system over here that I'm quite happy with. It does X, Y, Z. It might be a CRM, doesn't matter what it is. And we've got this other system over here that does something else. And that's something else. And we want some sort of interface between the two so that we can see what's going on. I don't have to go into there. I just want something.
Link in between the
link in between two different products, whatever they might be. It doesn't really matter what they are. It might be 3, 4, 5, 10, depends on the business. And I want to have some intelligence in there as well. So we use a bit of AI to maybe say to me, I'm making this up on the fly, I'm talking here, but give me warnings of something that's not quite right.
Yeah.
Or tell me when something's going really well, or performance related stuff, or, Jordan's doing really well. Plug there for you, Jordan. Whatever.
He's a legend.
So we get quite a lot of that. So they've still got legacy stuff.
Yeah.
They've got things that they're using and they're happy with. We're doing one at the moment to do with route planning. So they've already got the stuff in the trucks to say where stuff is going. But they want to be able to do other things. So it's that we're getting quite a lot of that. We're also finding that, as I say, people they've got an idea, they've got a product, they've got something they want to do. They don't quite know how to do it. They don't know how to make it secure and safe, as I said before. So that's another thing that's quite important.
So where do you find your day? Because I think Jordan will agree with me because he gets to see it from the outside. But it sounds like your brain and my brain are, cut from the same cloth and just 1,000 ideas constantly. No, absolutely. Most of my ideas are awful.
It's quite good now because I do have ideas, but not as much as I let them do it now.
I was going to say, how does your job as chairman? How's that transition changed? What does a normal day look like for you during the week?
Well, some stress. It's very, very stressful. It's really good, actually. It's quite good because I sound like I'm being a really big headed here, and it isn't all me, but certainly.
Pretend you're in America, we'll celebrate.
I do think that organisations take on the persona of the people that run them. So if I said to you, Richard Branson, you say, nice guy, people like him.
Always says yes.
Yeah.
Don't say yes.
He's got this thing. But if I said to you, Rupert Murdoch, I doesn't work for the Times and the Sun, and I can tell you, when Sky was part of their empire, there's a pretty tough firm.
Yeah.
It's a tough outfit.
Yeah.
They don't take prisoners. Whereas, Virgin, I've never worked with Virgin, but I think Virgin is a good employer. People like it.
Cut the ties. Branson's built everything on. Everything on PR. That's unfair, but he's very much one of the original PR kind of directors.
And
the whole
walls of that.
Yeah, the whole floating of Virgin before my time, but the whole floating of Virgin bought it back, and they brought it back at the same value and cutting the ties. And he's always on. And I've always felt that Virgin. It's gone beyond a long time ago, went beyond Branson, but they made an attempt a few years ago for Usain Bolt to become kind of the face of it, and that didn't really work.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, there was a number of media campaigns is this guy going to be like the media face because he was so big, but Holly Branson's not really picked it up, his son's not picked it up, so nobody's kind of followed that on. And then
it's interesting.
When Branson, he's obviously not a young guy, but eventually when he passes away, the Virgin name will continue.
Yeah.
But Branson will, I don't know, it'd be the same, I guess, with Apple with Steve Jobs. We all know about it with Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of thing. And, he's done amazing things. He's absolutely, but lots of his books are findings of things. But it's very, very difficult. And I personally would have found it very, very hard, even if I had a side in person, just to always say yes. Well, maybe that's why I'm not brilliant at. I don't know.
Everybody's, I mean, that's the thing about management, isn't it? I would say this to my people, you're a unique personality, I'm a unique personality. You're managing somebody who's a unique personality. No two unique personalities are alike. It's very, very difficult to do in practice, but it's definitely something you've got to do in theory, in real time, is to make sure that you're fair to everybody. Now, if you're going to be a swine, be a swine to everybody.
Yeah.
If you're going to be an easygoing sort of funny sort of take the mickey sort of chap like something maybe in this room, then be like that. Then don't have favourites. It's difficult because of course you have people that you like more than others.
Well, you have people you work with more.
Yeah.
Like,
and so we tried. My typical day. So if Simon was here, he would say, and he says it all the time, that I am the most disruptive employee of the company. Because I do have a bit of fun. I do like having a bit of fun. I do like my people having a bit of fun because I think having fun at work is great. Because, why do you work in a company? I hope you agree with me on this. Yeah, I think you probably will. People work in a company because obviously money is important. You've got to be paid. You've got to pay your people because they got mortgages, they got kids.
They've got to live. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But people stay in a company because they like the people they're working with. It's a friendly atmosphere. It's interesting. I like my work. I'm allowed a lot of freedom. And I try to, people soon pick up. We've got a marketing team. It's one of a guy called Doug. I'll give him a plug to now. And he's a really good guy, really great guy. But Doug never comes to me and says, what do I do next? He never asks. It's in his DNA, to be honest. Because I think, well, I don't know. What can you do next? Why don't you go and have a go at it? Let them have a go. Let them have a. Of course, you've got to keep an eye on people. We can't just let them do anything.
oh, they're going to do chaos.
It's absolute mental. But if you let people have freedom, not everybody, but a lot of people will fill that void, that gap, that freedom with the things they want to do. And again, it's not rocket science, is it? If somebody does a good job, you can't say they've done a fantastic job every day because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But if they do a good job, every now and again, just say, hey, Fred, did a good job there, mate. And they're chuffed to bits.
Yeah.
And they're happy. And they think, oh, my boss thinks I'm a good person. Or they think I'm a good employee, whatever. And I like the people I work with and I like my job, and that's why people stay with the company, I believe. And that's one of the reasons why I think we've got a high retention of people who've been.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing.
It's a cultural thing, So a typical day would be me getting into work. I don't get in at 9 o'clock anymore.
Yeah.
I used to. And because of the Navy, I was always mad about keeping everybody happy there at 9.
Did you feel like you had to be first in, last out?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I used to, I'd be. When I was in ABC, when I was first there, I was last in, the first in and last out. I do in my career. I found since now with Teams and other stuff, if somebody teams me at 9 o'clock at night, I'm going to answer it at work. I can get hold of it at any time if something happens.
So, right.
No, I don't think that. But I know that they're all there at 9.
Yeah.
Everybody's there by 9. Some of them are early on the MSP side. And we don't, so I know I don't have to. I think that's the best kind of manager, isn't it? The best sort of manager is the person that doesn't need to. I could have put this on a podcast. It's not that you have to bollock people; it's that they know they could get bollocked necessarily. But
there is a stick.
It sounds really bad. That.
No, I think it is that. That's where I think HR's always. I'm always a little bit cautious of it because it sounds fluffy. Because I have followed an American system to a degree. We've got a head of people and
not EOS, is it?
What?
The system that you're following.
No. What I mean, no, I mean in terms of their style. We don't have an HR lead, or we don't have a head of HR or an HR department. We have a people and cultural lead.
Okay.
So the person that does it.
Yeah, you're big now, though. You've got 70 people, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but I guess we. Yeah. I don't take compliments very well, and I don't take the sites. I don't take the sites. Yeah, it is. And Jordan and I were chatting about this the other day. I found a figure I think James Sinclair shared on his LinkedIn, which is about that only, was it 38,000 companies employ more than 50 people?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, out of nearly 6 million companies, only 38,000.
A lot of companies. 2 or 3 members.
That puts us into
the top 30,000.
Top 38. I was like, that's insane. I was like, whoa. What I don't do is I don't calibrate very well. People go, "Oh my God, look at what you've done." I'm like, "Yeah, but they're not built. I tell you."
I mean, I'm not. We had a Christmas party. Well, we had a Christmas party, and it used to be. I used to take them to the Dolce Vita restaurant.
Yeah.
Do you remember that in town? Have you ever been there? It's closed now, unfortunately, this time. Really good food, really top class food. And we used to go there. Well, by the time we got there, 7 o'clock at night, everybody's
Trashed.
yeah. And so I said, look at this. We go out in the day, we'll have a burgers. Right? And then we just feel like absolute time.
Yeah.
So last year we went to the Beefy Boys. I think it was absolutely.
Oh, was that Beefy Boys? Yeah, brilliant guys. Yeah.
I did enjoy the food. I'm fussy with food.
Same.
We were in town. And then we had the Shoothill Awards.
Yeah.
And the Shoothill Awards are most disruptive employee.
Yeah.
Or just jokes basically, but worst parking car, whatever. See, and we did these awards in the Weatherspoons, and we were now getting, pretty, sort of sloshed. And one of my people said, "What do you think? Are you really proud of where you got to the company?" And I don't really think about it really.
Yeah.
I don't really. As I said, I'm not jealous of anybody else. I've never been a jealous sort of person. What's the point of envy? I mean, I don't get envy.
Sin, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I'm fortunate because it doesn't bother me. Like I said to you, I met you once before, didn't I? When I came here, I met you now. I hope you become a multi-millionaire. I really do. Good luck to you. So I don't really know how it's happened. I just don't. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't like I'm going to set a business up and we're going to grow and all that stuff. I've been very lucky. I would say this, wouldn't I? I've been very lucky that I've met the right people who have come in, and I suppose if I have no discernible talent. I don't think I've got a discernible talent. I've got a.
Well, I think it's how you define talent, isn't it? Because I've got
imagination. I can talk.
Yeah.
But as people, everybody who works for me, I would say all of them are better in their jobs than whatever it might be than me.
But that's the talent in itself, because I always look at this and go, I always look at this and we've eradicated, I'm trying to eradicate the word manager in our company and just use leadership as
Right, yeah.
I'm trying to do that. That's been interesting because we had challenge on that a lot. But I always think, and I'm trying to live by this, you employ people that are smarter than you, people that are better.
Yeah.
And that's the growth of the business. And then you look after them, and whatever that looking after means. And that is a talent.
I needed a techie out there, right? I needed a techie. And I phoned back to the UK. And I said, listen, fellas, you've got to send me something over a technical person because we have things in the software, And there was this lad who worked at ABC, and he had been a roofer. And he came to ABC and he passed all his Microsoft exams really quickly. In those days, it was a big thing, you passed all your Microsoft stuff. He just got it. His name's Andy. He's still a mate of mine. And he was really good. And he'd been in the company about 7 or 9 months, as I say, passed all his Microsoft exams. And I said, I wouldn't mind if you could come over. And because he seems like, I didn't really know it, he seems like a talented sort of like. And his boss at the time didn't like it. He was inside the company. He wasn't the boss of the company. He was just his manager.
Yeah.
He didn't really like it. He didn't like the fact that this guy had passed real quick. And he was a little bit, I don't really know, but he didn't want him to go out to California.
Yeah.
And he actually sent another lad over who is both of these guys are my friends today. A guy called Paul, he's a fantastic guy as well. But he didn't want to send out he was a bit, he was a bit clever than it. And I think that is a key thing. You want, as we've said, you want people working for you who are far cleverer than you, if you can.
Yeah.
Or got abilities that you haven't, And I can big them all up at my firm. So, for example, Mike, who runs the MSP side, is fantastic with customers. He really is. I mean, he's just fantastic with the customers. Unflappable, really, really good. I've got Simon, who's really good on the business acumen side.
Yeah, he's got a really good reputation.
Oh, good.
I think from
I don't know if he's got that from.
He's got a solid reputation. Lots of people I speak to locally.
Yeah, and he's very good at that of figuring out. A lot of the time we get this in a lot of companies as well. We're thinking something and we say, "Hey, Joel, you ever thought of doing it this way?" Yeah. And they go, Especially, I don't know, Ed did it out because we're going to use software for it, right?
Yeah.
So logic comes into software quite a lot. So sometimes you might have a process, and I've seen all sorts, where you're spending X on sticking labels on. I'm making a joke, making them something up here, but you're sticking labels on envelopes when you could have a machine that would print them out and stick it,
Yeah.
So he's very good at that. Josh, as I've already mentioned, is fantastic on the public engagement plus the AI implementation. Both of them are good at the AI stuff, to be fair, implementation. So Eric is a genius. Sounds that's quite a high level of genius. I don't know what it comes out.
When you see this, he's not genius.
Well,
he's all right.
he's okay.
Code a little bit. He's no was.
So Eric is a really fantastic techie.
Yeah.
Right. You give Eric a problem, he'll solve it. And I've never managed to. I've tried, but I've never managed to flex him where he can't do so. And we've done hardware as well. We've done sensors and stuff. So we've done electronics. Eric did all that. He's then got other people working for him who are just superb thinkers.
Is he still in the business now?
Eric. Oh, yeah, he's business, yeah.
Yeah.
So Eric's responsible for all of the code, software, implementation, AI, everything to do everything we do. And we've just launched something actually. It's an AI rater, and basically it rates the accuracy of the different models because, like I said to you before, everything's looking fantastic, but these models can get it wrong.
Yeah.
And they do.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the key? Even I said. And so one of them was a test. I'm just trying to remember how it worked. It was something to do with trying to work out VAT on an invoice that's come back. Simon would describe this a lot better than I would. And there's a number. I can't remember what the number is. It was whatever it was. And this model, this testing system that we've built, will push out questions to the different platforms and get the answers back. And some of them are like 80% right.
Yeah.
Now, if you're running a business, isn't it? It's like people believe that it's 100% correct.
Oh, it's just, no.
Now, if you believe something is 100% correct and it isn't, it's they say, I don't know exactly, but let's say it's 80% correct. That means 20% of the time it's going to be wrong.
Yeah.
You're making decisions on your business. That means that 20% of those decisions are going to be wrong.
Yeah.
So that's quite important. Another one is, having everybody accessing everything inside of the company, right, using AI. Well, that sounds great because all your people are using chat or whatever. But then somebody, unfortunately, uploads data on everybody's salaries. And then that falls into the hands of somebody else in the company, and suddenly everybody knows what everybody's being paid. And a lot of companies pay different rates to different people. And then that is a confidential information. If that leaked, again, I'm using that word, but if it got out. So there's a lot of things to consider when you're building stuff these days with AI, because it can go wrong.
Yeah, and like you say, so let me come back. George's going to throw something out in a sec.
What?
Because he knows I asked a question, and then we both moved off there. We didn't come back to it. So it's your day to day. We got as far as you don't get into the office. So I get to the office.
So I get in the office about past 10ish, something like that. I go to the bank. Sometimes look at the bank statement in the bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
No,
I do.
I haven't looked at our financial position for maybe 3 months.
Well, that sounds very comfortable. I've always done it. I keep an eye on the finance.
Every morning I wait for a message going, shit. Like, Joel, we're in trouble. And I'll be like, how have we got there?
But I've always been careful with everything. I always try to keep a stash. I call it a stash.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, rainy day fund.
Rainy day, you never know.
3 months,
All the
6 months.
the change the economy.
Yeah. God knows what the government will come up with next.
So get me started.
Like,
So I do the finance side, I do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I used to go out for a walk every day, but I've hurt my knee, so I'll put on a bit of weight, which is bloody annoying. So and then I just get involved with all the different projects that are going on, ask questions. What about this? What about that? I try to leave it. I don't. It's difficult. It's not easy. I don't say it's easy. I don't want to. What's the word I'm looking for? Interfere.
yeah.
Too much because they are capable of running it without me. They are capable of building software systems without me now. They are capable of impressing the customers without even, some of them I don't even know, which does make me kind of uncomfortable because now we've got a lot of customers, it's inevitable, I suppose. But I can't tell you how many times when I do get to speak to them, they say, you really get it, you really get what I want. And you know, delivered something that I didn't think was possible. We're doing something at the moment with a local outfit. I can't really tell you who it is. It'd be big news when it happens. If I tell you the area, you'll get what it is. But we're building a system for managing tickets, put it that way, and other things. Was that me? And this chap said, well, you just solved all our problems. And it really is a stunning piece of work, you know.
Sounds like it's going to fall into our world, Jordan.
Well, you know, I mean, if I can honestly, it seems like a brag, but everything I said to you is absolutely 100% true. It is that. I still get that they use the expression "wheeling out" when Jordan did. Charming, isn't it?
No, do you know what? I think you should be really proud of that. I've got a friend who's he's a Welsh guy. He's lovely. Don't know why he made Welsh makes a difference, but I think it does. I've known him. Our wives work together in the prison service, right? Both psychologists. So I've met him through that. And he's gone through university, he's done business degrees. He is a natural entrepreneur. He is such a brilliant entrepreneur. It's unbelievable. And everything he turns his hand to like that is great. But he's back in the private sector, has been for years. And when he left he built a business, it was really well. He's like, Joel, I've never had so much money in my life. And he just stopped it. Didn't sell it, and he just stopped it dead. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah. And he was like, hell, I just had so many hours I put into. I'm missing so much of my kids. I'm missing so much. I was like, I'm just going to go back into the corporate shoe. He said, I know it. I get it. I can do it really, really well. And I can do 37.5, 40 hours. And now, he's a VP of a really, really big, massive international company. He's a VP. And I was chatting to him, it was a few months ago now. We were out for dinner. And I said to him, he said, oh, what's your day-to-day? I'm like, Joe, they just roll me out when they need a customer, like doing this. So when they've got a customer that's about to sign but not quite there, they roll me out. If they've got a customer they're a bit worried about, they roll me out. If they've got a presentation about the company, I'm going to roll. Anytime they need it to look amazing, they roll me out. So I spend my time going to like different games, different places, sporting games, all sorts of stuff. But he's amazing at doing that. And he brings that company in so much money. Right.
So much shit.
Because he's great at what he does. That's a talent.
Wheel for any sort of any sort of public engagement, any kind of public speaking, things like this, you know. And I've done loads of stuff over the years, and but now I've been on a bit. And I want other people to be able to.
I don't think early 60s is going on a bit nowadays.
It's the mileage.
It's a lot of flying.
I don't know. I still enjoy work. I like going into work. My wife is looking after her mum in Wales permanently at the moment in South Wales, and so I'm on my own at home. So that would drive me crazy to sit in the house. I don't really have many hobbies. I don't play golf. All my lot are going to golf lately, and it's really annoying because it's so boring talking about 9 hours.
It's just what a way to run a beautiful walk.
I'm doing that for mental reasons. I mean, absolutely crazy. So I don't play golf. I read a lot. I do all that. So my typical day is really just sort of loitering around, making sure. I like meeting the customers. I like doing that. I like asking them. I always say this: how do we do it? Are you happy? What everybody doing a good job? How pleased are you? You know, I like to do that because I want people to say. I like them to say, "This is absolutely rubbish. I'm really upset," because I want to know. They never do, but I want to know. You know, we tend to find, certainly in the last couple of years, somebody might use us for like one thing, and then they say, "Oh, well, we use it for this and for that and for that." So that's a really nice. We're like a mini systems integrator, is what I
because you're a range. I think I had a friend or a company that we do work with. I think they used you again years ago. I think that's one of the first.
They used us or something.
Yeah, I think they used you guys. I'd have to double check them, so I won't name them in case they have used different. But I remember them explaining to me that they used you guys to connect 3 different pieces of software that they had.
Yeah.
To have 3 different things that were, they needed to communicate with each other to make their life seamless.
Yep.
And they just couldn't figure out. And from what I recall, they were saying that you guys came in and were like, this is how we connect it. You'll have this singular dashboard and all the data.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of that. So we used to be involved in, we got, how much full time we got here, fellas, but visualization was this thing, it used to be called visualization, how to present, and I was quite good at this because of my dyslexia. I'll give you a good one. We had an IBM phoned us up one time, right? And they said, what do you know about prime numbers?
I had this conversation with my daughter.
Oh, no, did you?
Yeah, and I'm not smart, particularly academically. So we're sat in the car driving back. She's like, I'm massive sorry, I've to tell you a story.
No, go on.
We were driving, picked her up from gym, and she said, are you here because of the argument I had with mum? I was like, I didn't even know you had an argument with mum. Yeah, we had a big argument. What'd you have? On maths. I was like, what? She, prime numbers. So and she started going off. I was like, I'm not even sure I know what a prime number is. She went, I don't know what a prime number is either. I don't know what a prime number is. We got back, we were both so angry with my wife. Because neither of us knew what prime numbers were.
Well, I believe it's a number that can't be divided. Right?
It is number divided by itself or one. Yeah, so like 9 wouldn't be a prime number.
No,
but 7 can be. Yeah.
But 3 is one, isn't it? Is it?
3 is one, yeah.
And as you go up, they get exponentially.
Yeah.
This was about 10 years ago, 8 years, 9 years ago.
If you're going to listen to this and go, oh my God, how do these guys run companies?
I know. So this guy from IBM phoned me up and said, what do you know about prime numbers? And I said, I believe it's none of that. He said, well, actually, they're used in encryption.
Yeah, makes sense.
The record then, I think, was 17 million digits.
Oh my God.
Right, they're using massive computer servers to figure out the next one.
Yeah.
So this fella said, right, we want to be able to visualize that where people understand the size of this number. So it came instantly to me. It wasn't something that it wasn't. I didn't have to think about it almost. I thought, well, let's start off. Let's literally produce this number, 17 million. I'm trying to imagine this now, and we'll start off in the middle of that 17 million. So we start off with the letter 3, number 3, sorry, and then instead of zooming in, we zoom out. So as we zoom out, we get to that's 3, little square, and then we get the dates on when those prime numbers were discovered.
Yeah.
As a square, and as you zoom out, you then have this understanding of how enormous this number actually is. But you can zoom in on it again, and let's literally see the digits. And that's how we visualised it. And it was just a strange way of doing it. It was just a really strange way of doing it. Anyway, launched in IBM and Microsoft, because I'm Microsoft to do the servers. And some guy, I can't remember who he was, some professor of mathematics pinged me and said, this is the greatest visualization I've ever seen in prime numbers. It's just really brilliant for teaching kids. And that was my sort of thing. I was always a visual person. I've always been I'm not a scientist, as I said. I'm a visual, and I've instilled that in them as well. I think is like, software. It's got to be kind of enjoyable, not enjoyable to use, but if you put a button up here, but somebody's got to keep doing that all the time, and there should be a button down there, which makes it a lot easier. That saves them a lot of time messing about. And a lot of designer software, there's a lot of what I would call custom software, where people just bang it out. They don't really think of the user in that way. And then if your job is, I don't know, counting.
Would you use Xero for your accounting software?
We don't. We use QuickBooks.
Okay, so I remember.
And Sage.
Yeah.
What's Xero like? Is it nice looking?
It is, but I remember when we took Xero on, when it first launched, it came out from Australia. Really, really good piece of software. And they got computer game designers onto the team, because they were like, we want to make this intuitive.
Right.
You'll click here and you click there, and it's a natural rhythm. And when I first used it, I was like,
wow, it's cosmic.
This is a natural rhythm. So
keep using that word cosmic, by the way.
Look, let me ask you this, because John we'll get locked in. He probably has got to go home. He probably does start off. Right? Yeah. Do you think you could you work for someone else? Could you be employed? Are you employable?
I don't know, to be fair, to be honest with you. I did work for other companies.
Yeah.
I was always very passionate, though. Yeah. In that company I mentioned in Canada, I was very passionate because I invented a thing there, and they didn't want to go with it. It was called Runaware, where you could play with a piece of software over the internet. And I came up with this concept called Run a Demo, where somebody could demo a piece of software over the internet. and they wouldn't go with it. They didn't want to go with it, and I was really frustrated. And I had some arguments, and in fact, I got fired from this firm a couple of times. So they had to,
Oh, a couple of times.
yeah,
Okay.
4 in total.
Okay. They're like, you've got value and they keep bringing
They took me back. So I could get passionate, but then obviously I get too passionate really, and I suppose I'd be really annoying to my manager. And now I've picked up all these bad habits of independent thinking and all of that. I just don't think I could. I've got immense respect. It's not like I don't think people who work for other people are mugs. I don't think like that, because not everybody can run a business. Not everybody.
And everyone's stress.
Well, no, there's stress as well. And also, don't forget, a lot of businesses are set up by people who are not necessarily good managers.
Yeah.
And therefore, they grow or whatever, but they're not actually a good manager. They might have a good idea, but they can't manage people very well.
Yeah.
And they assume, because you want to assume, because your company, you're the boss. And you might not be that good at managing people. I do know of a company where I would not want to work there for a day, because I wouldn't handle it, I wouldn't handle it. So no, to answer your question, could I work for somebody else? I doubt it very much, unless they were, I don't think unless that's a kind of word for me. I find myself so annoyed.
I think you've answered it.
I'd be so annoyed if myself working with me.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time and just chewing through all of that, because I think that's it's fascinating. Some very funny bits to that.
I got the funny stories, but I can't always make them public. That's the only thing.
Well, that's the thing. We'll wait until the down the line, or I'll get to come back.
Is that it, then, fellas?
I think so, George. Yeah, you happy? You good? Yeah.
Right. So what are you going to do then? When are you going to put it out and stuff?
I think we've got there's 2 episodes going out ahead, so it's probably going to be towards the end of June.